Hello YouTube, my name is Gatlo. I'm a professional Pokemon Unite player and Worlds finalist from the World Championship in London. I'm the current rank 1 in the leaderboard and I made the tier list with the Content Cowboy Spragels and my good friend and teammate from non-esport Adesu. I hope you enjoy it. If you like the video, leave a like and comment. And if you want to see more content, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my Twitch channel. I stream 5 to 6 times a week around 5 p.m. Central European time. I hope you enjoy it. Alright guys.
Okay, here we are. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Yeah. All right. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready to go.
Okay, guys, we start first with the attackers. In the first, we have Venusaur as an attacker. So I'm gonna put him in the B tier first, and we'll discuss about Venusaur and kind of competitive scene and what Venusaur can do, what he's capable of, and what is his weakness. And this is gonna start with what Venusaur can do in the.
Can do nothing. Like in a meta where Mine and Mew is dominating, those two characters are so strong against Venusaur Petal Dance. Like literally Venusaur has no chance against Mine. Like he power swap Venusaur, he decreases the damage of Venusaur, and you cannot move. Like the worst enemy against Venusaur is CC, and Mine has a lot of CC. There's no room for Venusaur in this meta right now. And he plays Solar Beam. For that, you play Mew. Like Mew has a less strong Solar Beam, but it has less cooldown and he has more survivability, so it's better. That's it.
So where would you put him in the?
It's B. It's B. Like this character, you should not use this character right now.
So do you think it's balanced? It's fine. That's why you don't put it at C, or how would you describe it?
Like the character is good, has good tools, but since Mine and Mew are there, and those two characters are so strong against Venusaur, Venusaur has no run in the meta right now. Maybe after the nerfs, he can be pick. Because the character is not bad at all. If he power farms and gets level 15, of course he's really strong character that with you support him is going to be really good. But he cannot do nothing against mine right now. It's just bad.
All right.
Yeah, isn't this the story of a lot of what's happening in the game right now? Is so many Pokemon can't do anything against, this wall of Mr. Mime. I feel like Venusaur is in such a tough spot. I ran into a team that was running Venusaur and Mew the other day, and they were just kind of double solar beaming with this really heavy front line of Mime and Snorlax and stuff, and that seemed decent, but it does seem like Venusaur is just in a tough spot, which is weird because it's a character that wants level 13. It's always going to get it on this new map, but it does just feel like it's running into these super powerful Pokemon right now. So yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think B is a pretty reasonable place for it.
Okay, like I agree as well. Like I think Venusaur is a really good Pokemon when the meta changes again. Because right now Mime is so oppressive. He shut downs a lot of Pokemon. Like Venusaur is one of them. And if you wanna play Solar Beam, like Adesu said, you just play Mew. You have more Solar Beam, you have more damage, and you can use it more. Like you could run Solar Beam like Venusaur with Giga Drain, but again, like Mew has agility, she can run away. She can also switch their abilities, and she's also an attacker. And
Yeah.
I also think like Venus is just a B right now, because I think he has some uses when the meta is gonna change, and even if you pick him in competitive scene, even though it's not that strong, it has uses. Like all of a sudden, it uses ultimate and kills everyone, because you won't expect it. Because the ultimate is also really strong, and you play Amplifier, for example. Alright, moving on to the next Pokemon.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
for that you need the enemy team to be together, and
that's
in
true.
this map the enemy team is usually not together in a group. They are split.
Good note. Okay, the next Pokemon is Gardevoir. I'm gonna start with it first. I personally think that in the competitive scene, Gardevoir is C tier. Because when you play Gardevoir, you wouldn't need XP in the beginning. Once you get level 5, you're gonna be really strong. But because the map is so big and it's so easy to go to the enemy jungle, like if a Greedent and the Snorlax invades Gardevoir at the same time, and Gardevoir doesn't get XP, and she falls behind and the enemy jungler gets XP, for example, like a Glaceon, then Gardevoir can't come back. She can't make any places. She needs the team to support her, and that's also an issue. If the team needs to support the jungler is not that strong. She's not good on lane, and um, I feel like Gardevoir has some good uses, but in my opinion, she's C because a lot of speedsters around us, and everyone that can counter Gardevoir can just destroy Gardevoir in competitive scene. Because if the team needs to support Gardevoir, and like while the team is supporting Gardevoir, our team gets XP. It's not useful to pick Gardevoir, in my opinion.
In my opinion, it's not worse than Venusaur for sure. Like, I don't think he deserves that bad spot. Like, Gardevoir actually works pretty well against mine. Like, you can outrange mine every time, and I don't feel like it's bad against Mew either.
Mhm.
So, since those two characters are in every game, plus Glaceon, also I don't think Gardevoir is bad against Glaceon. Like, you can keep the range enough to get out of threat of these three Pokemons. Like, you have to be careful about Talonflame, Absol, or like those kind of speedsters. I don't think the Gardevoir deserves C tier. I think it deserves like A minus maybe, but not
Whoa,
A
C tier.
minus.
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna
Wow,
put
I
it in,
mean,
and then
it's so I mean, it's so cool hearing these two different perspectives because I'm obviously not a competitive player like the two of you. So I play some 5 stacks. I play a lot of solo, duo, trio. I thought Gardevoir was going to come into this patch and do really poorly, and I often see it do fine. It seems to play at enough of a range and put out enough damage into sort of this big death ball that's running around, but what Gotlu said about these speedsters just kind of walking right up to it and deleting it, I feel like there are so many deletion machines in the game right now. Just a
Mhm.
Pokemon walks up, it's like, goodbye, I'm 3 levels higher than you, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And Gardevoir is such an easy Pokemon to delete. So I would, of course, defer to either of you for a competitive take on this. But it's interesting that we have one C and one A minus. And my thought was that it was going to be pretty close to Venusaur. So whatever you guys feel makes the most sense.
I think like hearing
Like,
both of you, I would agree to put Gardevoir to B tier right now. Like I don't think it's A minus because it gets shut down so easily.
That's what I also notice about Gardevoir is it gets shut down really easily. You can't play it too many places well except the center area. But beyond that, I actually felt, seeing it inside matches, I was kind of surprised at how useful it was. But I thought A minus also seemed high. So whatever sounds good to you boys.
Adesu?
like you have a point. Like, it's easy to kill Gardevoir with speedsters, but you can a Gardevoir can also keep and track where the speedsters are.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like Gardevoir cannot make easy for the speedsters to get her. So,
But like watching from a competitive perspective, do you think
mhm.
you would pick Gardevoir over Glaceon?
I mean,
Well,
if we do
you kind of
this,
run into the big problem, right? Whereas you can say this for
Yeah,
90% of the
yeah.
roster, and that
exactly.
is the big problem. Where you go,
Like,
well, would you pick it over Glaceon? No. Would you pick it over Mime? No. Would
so,
would you pick it over Mew?
yeah.
No. So you do this to everyone, which
Yeah,
is a totally legitimate thing to say, by the way. I
yeah.
totally agree with it. It is just also tough when you're thinking, well, where do you put this Pokemon then? If we're saying all of these Pokemon sort of don't have a job because of a few select overpowered Pokemon.
So like my question is, do you think you could make this Pokemon work in a team, like in a competitive team composition where Gardevoir shines?
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
like would you agree
Could
to
could
B
work.
or would you go higher? Because for me,
Like, could work, but it's not easy at all. Like, it's getting complicated. Where other characters will make it easier, but I'm pretty sure it's better than Venusaur. Way better than Venusaur actually.
I think you're
I mean,
right.
I'd be happy moving it to B plus if that's.
Yeah,
I feel like A minus sounds high, but then again, you could see a team really make a lot of different Pokemon shine. It's got some cool stuff. Obviously, for a Pokemon that needs a lot of experience, there's a lot of experience to get, so that's really nice for Gardevoir. But yeah,
yeah, I agree. Like I talked about C because I wasn't really thinking about the pluses that Gardevoir give. I think Gardevoir, like I said, as I said, can or like if she knows the position and she knows her limits, she can out damage the Mime. Like Mime can't go to her if she is be careful. Like if she's careful. If she's not careful enough, she's gonna get one shot. But
Sadly,
yeah,
it's
okay,
hard
yeah,
to play, but it's not bad.
okay, let's move on to our next Pokemon,
let's
Greninja.
do it.
Oh my.
I will
Like,
put it as S tier and I'll let you talk for now.
this is so hard to actually. Like Greninja not good. It's not good against mine. And Mew is tanky enough to tank Greninja, and he can switch to Surf or Ultimate. Like I don't find like Greninja can kill me or mine, which are in every game. Also, Glaceon can one so Greninja. I don't feel his S here for sure. But it's true like this Pokemon can farm and be out over level like every game because he's so fast at farming. Definitely he's good, but I don't think he's S. He should be A plus maybe. One of the last of A plus. Like yeah.
That's interesting that Adesu says that because my thought on Greninja is kind of the same thing. I see it in matches. Of course, it can farm like crazy. It's always going to be level 15. But I feel like the Unite move changes hurt Greninja a little bit, maybe more than you would expect, because it doesn't become kind of a crazy monster like it used to be when it unites. And then I also think whenever I see Greninja, it just runs into this iron wall, and it's really hard for it to do things against a Pokemon like Mime, Snorlax, which is extremely popular right now. That all being said, you still get those moments where Greninja can wipe an entire team. So it's not like it's bad, but I've been a little unimpressed by it. That being said, I have not seen the best teams running it. So maybe if I'm watching one of the best teams out there running it, I would go, oh wow, yeah, Greninja's still crazy. But I also don't think it's S. It doesn't strike me as completely overpowered.
You had a really good point there. Like, if someone should play Greninja right now, like the play style of Greninja right now is be sneaky, 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 and wait for the
Yeah,
perfect moment to go into the back lane. Like, you cannot actually try to kill the front lane. Like, you have to run out of the front lane because the front lane kills you.
yeah,
Yeah, like I agree as well because I put it on S tier, so I can hear your thoughts because putting it on S tier, like S tier is a high tier. Like there should be
hmm
Pokemons that are really impressive, not risky to play. In my opinion, Greninja is a really risky Pokemon. If you play it, you need to play it pixel perfect. Like you don't need to play it pixel perfect, but the chances of getting a high lead is high, but also the chance of dying is also high. So when you have a high lead and you die multiple times in the game, you give a lot of XP to the enemies. But
Agreed.
because Greninja is so good in like after he gets level 7, the middle beasts are spawning at 8 minutes. The middle beasts like middle beasts like middle Swablus are spawning and they give a lot of XP. Once you get them, you deny the enemy XP as well and getting a high XP lead. So you can
Yeah, but
go yeah,
you can get killed by Heavy Slam and Solar Beam at the
yeah.
same time, middle of your surf as well. So
So
be
like I feel
careful.
like Greninja is in a good spot right now. If you are a really good Greninja, I feel like a Greninja's player can always improve. I used to be a Greninja player myself. I have the most games on Greninja on my main account in general. But I don't like to play Greninja because I don't want to play Pokemon that is risky to play. And if my team thinks it's not that good, I'm not gonna play it in a competitive scene. Yep.
yeah.
So we all
So
agree on A
what do you
plus.
think? A plus
Yeah,
or
Yeah,
A plus?
one
A
one
plus.
of the last of A plus. Yeah,
I think in
Okay.
between, but because it can get a level lead and really good Greninjas can dominate the game, A plus.
Yeah, the farming aspect is incredible. I mean, you can walk over the entire map. You just take all the experience insanely fast. So that's really impressive for Greninja. Yeah.
Alright, moving on to Cinderace. I'm gonna put Cinderace to B plus tier again.
agree. Like it's for me, it's a worse Greninja. Like Spinrace is meant to kill front laners like really fast, but if the front lane is killing you, what is your work then? Also, his ultimate is really good for securing, but I feel like securing objectives in this map is not that palatable like in the previous map. So no, no.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The secure isn't that valuable, which is going to be interesting when we start talking about some other Pokemon with massive secure that used to be really, really dominant. And interestingly enough, this Pokemon it feels like it's set up to shred things like Snorlax and Mime and Greedent Pokemon like that. But on this map, I just find that it keeps getting caught out. There's so many more places for things to hide, and there's so many more ways to get to some of these squishier Pokemon it feels like, and I just haven't seen it provide as much value. It doesn't farm as fast as Greninja, so that feels pretty fair. Like A minus B plus. I don't know. Seeing it next to Gardevoir is a little odd. It might be better than that, but yeah,
I also agree on the B plus because I think Cinderace is a good Pokemon. It has some uses and I think Cinderace is one of the best, like it's one of the best teamfight Pokemons. But because of the new map, it's so big. You don't know what objectives you go. You don't know like it used to be. Cinderace get level 9, Cinderace get Dreadnought and kills everyone bot lane and scores, and can then goes base and farms again. But because the map is so huge and no one really teamfights anymore for huge objectives, because the objectives are not that valuable. Like you either like whether split, farm, score, but Cinderace
Mhm.
fights. He's not really scoring, so I think Cinderace has some good uses, but because Greninja can just jump into the enemies and shreds them and go somewhere else, take enemy farm, does whatever he wants because he gets invisible. Like Cinderace can't do it. He needs to run with someone to kill, for example, a tank. So I'll agree on putting him in B plus, right?
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
Right. Next attacker is gonna be Cramorant. I will put Cramorant to A minus right now. I'm gonna start with Cramorant. Watching competitive players like Atune playing Cramorant in ladder and in general, I think Cramorant has really good uses. I think Cramorant is a really strong Pokemon on the bot lane side, and Cramorant is one of the few attackers that can actually protect a lane and can outsecure huge outsecures because whether like either he secures or he kills. Like he has a lot of damage output, and once he gets the blue buff on the bot lane side, he can dominate the game really fast. Like, he has a huge power spec on level 4, which is great because once you get level 4, you get easily level 4 in this map. You can do a lot of things, and when you get level 6, you're even stronger. And I feel like because Cramorant is so oppressive on either one side and can protect the lane as well, I think he's a really good Pokemon in the competitive scene. Also, his ultimate is really dominant in the team fights when you get protected. Like when you have a good positioning and use your ultimate, you do a lot of damage. And like people want to kill Cramorant, but if the Cramorant is good, there are so many walls and so many things you can hide and run away with. Like it gets out of things that you shouldn't get out. And I think that's what in Pokemon, like that's why Pokemon is so strong.
So you put Cramorant in A minus, then you defend Cramorant. Like I don't understand. Doesn't he need to be like one tier at least higher? Like I don't feel this Pokemon is A minus for
That's
sure.
true. I think I'm gonna put it
Like
to A tier. Like yeah, like I just wanted to clarify that
like
I think Cramorant is
He's
a good
playing
Pokemon.
mind games with us, Adesu. He's like, I'm gonna put it down here. What do you guys think?
yeah, his mind game. Like yeah, I completely agree with what Gatlo said. Like when you play Cramorant, what you want to be is be annoying. You know that Cramorant cannot one-shot people. He's killed people like how do you say it? Like exhausting, like being annoying. Like you
Hmm.
do one hit with dive, you take like
Yeah,
15% of HP, you do it again, you do it again.
Yeah,
Once the enemy it's like half HP, then you go all in. Like you don't go all in when the enemy has 100% HP. You want to be annoying. And you don't want to people catch you. You have a problem there. Like Glaceon actually is so strong against Cramorant because Glaceon doesn't care about the high mobility of Cramorant. He just auto attacks you. He kind of miss. He two shots you actually. That's dangerous for Cramorant, so that's why I don't think he's higher than that tier. But he's so good against Mew, he's so good against mine. Like people cannot catch you easily, and you are being annoying every time. And the ultimate is super good against Glaceon as well.
yeah, I happen to agree. The biggest thing I agree with is this map gives so much outplay potential, especially to a Pokemon that can easily maneuver through the tall grass, over a wall, back over. And like you were saying, Adesu, it's like a war of attrition a little bit. You bounce back, you throw a little bit of damage, then you easily hop away from whatever's
Exactly.
coming to you. So I think a good cram is very, very good. I also think its Unite move in a weird way feels like it kind of got a buff because other people's Unite moves are worse, and this Unite move is kind of the same that it has been for a while. So it kind of got a nice little buff there. But you're right, against the Glaceon or something, like you're in so much trouble. It can also jump, and if you're at half health, you're already gone near this thing. So yeah, that's true. I think Cram's actually pretty solid.
alright. So we will agree to put it on A. So
Yeah.
the next Pokemon is gonna be Pikachu. I'm gonna put it on C tier for now. Um, I think Pikachu personally is not that great. You saw it in Worlds. No, like Pikachu had the zero pick rate in Worlds. There's a reason why no one wants to play Pikachu. I think Pikachu has some good uses, but I don't think it's that valuable over Pokemon. Like I always say over Pokemon. Like I feel like it's a Like I think Aegislash is like can easily outsecure Pikachu and can run away. And because the map is so huge, like it used to be one creep, and but right now on top lane side there are like 7 creeps. On bot lane side there are more creeps. They are spawning different timers, and I feel like I don't think Pikachu is that great. Also, because of the reason that Mew has Electro Ball, for example, as well. I don't think the other ability is strong like Thunder and um, yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, Thunder has a problem, and it's like it does not that much damage for the high cooldown it has. Like, but a good thing that Thunder has is the range. But even if it has a long range, there's other catchers that actually are doing more damage and has more survivability than Pikachu. So I can understand what you said. I don't know if he deserves C tier. Like the ultimate is so good still, and Bolt Tackle just makes everyone mad. Like this ability is not bad at all. Bolt Tackle is super good actually. Against assassins and other stuff is super good, still super good. But yeah, like the zero pick rate means like Pikachu is risky for sure. Like he was signing in early game, like
Yeah.
some metas ago, but right now you can see that other characters have very early game than this Pokemon. I don't know. Like I think the rat needs a buff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely low tier. No one's really playing it, obviously. I do agree with the Adesu that Volt Tackle, I think, is actually the play. If you're going to use this Pokemon, you're going to use it. It's a serious amount of CC, and you can really isolate, those squishier characters. It's always surprising when you're able to pull them out. Not surprising, I guess, is the right word, but you are able to set up some pretty interesting things with that move. That being said, it sits in this weird no man's land of what are you going to use? What are you going to replace in your team for a Pikachu? And I think
That's it.
that's the
That's it.
problem with
Yeah.
this Pokemon
That's it.
is what are you going to swap? And the answer is probably nothing. So
Exactly.
it's low. It's probably low there, but I bet kind of like Gardevoir, honestly, I think a team could devise a strategy around it, but unless you had a strategy set around it, you probably won't see it picked.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, completely agree with you.
I also agree. So CTR is Pikachu. Alright,
Sure.
now we put Ninetales.
I don't know this Pokemon. Like I cannot
Um,
value Vanitas.
Adesu, why are you not starting with Ninetales?
Uh, like I don't think Ninetales deserves C tier. Like I care about like other Ninetales players that since this map has a lot of walls, Blizzard is buff for sure. Like it's way better. Blizzard is super good because of this. But still, I think the Pokemon needs something. Like there was 2 games like, during this week in which I got one shot by Ninetales combo because this map has so many bosses. Like I actually you face check a Ninetales in this map, you're going to have a really hard time. I think it's better than Pikachu and probably better than Venusaur.
Interesting. I mean, I've seen most of the time I see this played, it's still with Aurora Veil, and I think a lot of people are finding success with it, but I'm not seeing it in competitive play a ton. I actually think it is probably better than Pikachu. It feels like it actually feels like Ninetales is okay, but they can probably buff this Pokemon again. It's weird, but a lot of the special attackers are back to being in sort of a weird spot again in the game.
Yeah, I think I would put Ninetales also on B tier rather than C tier as well because like playing ladder and playing competitively and like I feel like if you put the right strat with Ninetales and you put it on a lane where it's actually good and you don't put it on the opposite lane, it has some good uses. And it also can protect a lane like Cramorant and it it can just dominate a lane. But I feel like because other Pokemon outshine Ninetales, she doesn't really
Well,
get.
can you stop a mine from scoring with Ninetales? I don't think so. Like when I played this Pokemon, like
Yeah.
mine was still out securing me and scoring.
Yeah, like
I don't
I
know.
also think like about this new map is all about kind of scoring, and if you play Ninetales, it's kind of hard to score if you don't run with your team. So
Mm-hmm.
like Clement can score alone. He can run to the enemy jungle and take the jungle, for example. But Ninetales, it's risky to do it with Ninetales because she's so slow. Like you can run X speed with her, but I think like exit tech or eject button could be better. So I feel like Ninetales is a pretty balanced Pokemon. I think if it gets a buff or something else, she's gonna get higher in the competitive scene. And because of the team, because Ninetales can fit in good team compositions, I think it's a great B tier. Like not
I,
B plus, but B.
nah, I think he deserves a special tier for her, like trust tier, especially for the Ninetales from lane.
What do you think, Sparkles?
I mean, I think B is pretty fair. I don't know. It's weird because it's almost like we're using Venusaur as a measuring stick for a lot of these Pokemon, which
Yeah.
does make sense. It's sort of a perennial B tier for like a lot of tier lists. Venusaur just hangs out in this B tier area, and you compare a lot of things to it. So it's tough. I'd probably rather have it on my team because it plays well in path early over Venusaur or something like that. But I do think with scoring being such an issue, when you have these Pokemon that aren't really very mobile at all, it's just tough. It's tough
Yeah.
to want to pick them. Like you said, Cramorant's great because a dive Cramorant can run across half the map probably 3 times faster than Ninetales and can get away if it's not able to, get its job done. So I don't know. I don't know where you put a Pokemon like that in a competitive scene. B sounds fine to me, honestly.
Okay. Let's search for the attackers. The next attacker is gonna be
Decidueye.
The Kaduji.
Yeah, the bird.
it's gonna be
Decidueye.
Sylveon.
Oh, never mind.
Ah, yeah,
Sylveon.
Sylveon,
I
yeah.
didn't even see it.
Um,
Didn't have the red background.
I will put Sylveon to A minus and give it to the best Sylveon in the world.
Oh my god, yeah, Sylveon has a hard spot in this map and meta. Like, uh, I don't like to play Sylveon against mines. I don't think it's really that bad to play against mine, but if mine ults you, you need to ult to get out. Like, and if you get hit by power swap, you need to trigger it instantly at speed, and it's very oppressive like playing against mine. You cannot reach Mew, and if you reach Mew, he can just agility out of your hyper voice. Charizard's one shot you. Like, I don't feel like Sylveon is bad against Snorlax, but it still struggles. Hmm. Like, Sylveon was actually good for tearing down defenders like Blissey, like Slowbro, like Blastoise and Venusaur. Like when those Pokemon were meta, Sylveon was really good. But right now, like the characters that are playing Talonflame, Absol, nah, Sylveon is not good against them, in my opinion. Like Sylveon is a character that depends so much on matchup. Maybe we can see some Sylveon if there's a draft mob coming soon,
So where
but
would you
not
put
right now.
Sylveon if you would have
A
put?
minus is I think A minus is fair for because it's not bad. I don't feel it's bad, but it doesn't shine for sure. It doesn't
Yeah,
shine.
I also think Sylveon has really good uses, especially in the early game, to deny XP from the enemies. And like we do this weird split strat where Sylveon gets one buff and goes bot lane and just overruns the entire map. But because I feel like um, if she does it, it's fine. But because there's so much XP, people can still get XP from other things. Even if Sylveon um, like is in one lane and is being pretty oppressive, the other lane is getting value. And even if you are falling behind, you can still get value somewhere else. Like I feel like because you get so much XP in this map, and Sylveon, like for example, Mew can out-secure, Mime can out-secure and stuff. I feel like Sylveon is in a tough spot on this meta, but I still think Sylveon is a really good Pokemon, and that's why I would have put it in A minus because it has good mobility, it does a lot of damage, it spreads special defense with Hyper Voice, and yeah, it's just being annoying as well.
Yeah, this for me, Sylveon is lower, but I can't I can't argue with your team for Sylveon. I mean, you were the reason Sylveon kind of became the big thing in the meta. So I'm not going to argue Sylveon, but I will say I'm not very impressed by it against a lot of what it goes up against. And like you said, it does deny some experience, but it's not hard to get experience on this map. It's why sort of those bigger experienced monsters are doing pretty well on this map, whereas maybe they weren't doing as well before. It's just there's plenty of places to go for XP. But again, I won't argue with you guys about Sylveon. I have been unimpressed when it's against me or on my team. I don't think it's that
Just don't
impactful.
forget that Sylveon can give such a huge advantage in early game, like such a huge lead.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you put Sylveon on bot lane, you know that the enemy mine is not going to score at all because he will be really scared of Sylveon,
True.
and that's very strong actually. Like Sylveon cannot be easily killed against mine in bot lane, and the early game is so strong. Like you cannot put a Pokemon that can do that in a low tier, in my opinion. And also the mid game and late game is not bad. Like he has a really bad matchups,
Yeah.
but it still can do a fair damage, in my opinion. Like
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I can't, I can't say anything about Sylveon with you guys around. You made Sylveon, and I'm sure you're right. For me, I'm not very impressed by it.
Moving on to the next Pokemon, Decidueye. I'm gonna tell
S
you what you. Okay.
S plus.
S plus.
S plus.
Okay, now you
No,
need to
man. Yeah,
explain us.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't feel this Pokemon is S plus for sure.
S.
Maybe A plus. Like,
Over Greninja or behind Greninja?
like the city has very strong points but very weak points at the same time.
So tell me, what is it about Decidueye that you guys are seeing? Because I feel like this Pokemon's in a pretty rough spot. But I would love to hear what you're seeing with it,
Okay,
with Decidueye.
I can actually try to explain it. Like when I play the Silhouette in this map, and I have a team that gives me vision, I spot the enemy threats. It's so easy to play. Like, you have so many bosses to hide, and
Hmm.
um, since there are so many fights for the middle of the map, that's exactly where the Silhouette shines. Like for, at 8-minute Altarias, for example, if you have arrow there,
Hmm.
I always get some kills or the Altarias. Like he's so strong. Um, there's another point of the Silhouette, it's Sabo Sneak. Sabo Sneak gives you vision like from people that are hide on the bushes. Like if you play the Silhouette and you play it good, no one going to be sneaking killing you if you play Sabo Sneak well. Um, I like in this map since they buff Floatstone as well, and I feel like Floatstone is kind of OP in this way because you can run so fast where the enemy is and
Yeah,
just
it's really
Spirit
nice.
Suck on them. Yeah, like if someone is fighting and you're in the middle of the match, you can just run very fast and support that fight like instantly. And I felt like he's really strong because of this.
Like
Nice.
watching from a
Yeah,
compa- oh,
I'm seeing it get caught out so often, but of course I'm not seeing a team like yours support it. I just feel like it just keeps getting caught out. It gets KO'd in one hit. If it's next to anything, it's in so much trouble. But yeah, if you're playing well, if you're far away, also when someone throws a power swap plus on you and you're firing arrows, like that's an insane amount of damage too, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gotlu, I cut you off there.
it's alright. I think, like personally, I would put Decidueye in S tier because
Wow.
watching like from a competitive perspective, we have time. Like there are tournaments, but you can still like keep practicing. And right now, I think like if you maximize this Pokemon and you are really good with it and you play with the team, I think this Pokemon is so impressive. Like every time Adesu plays this Pokemon in the jungle or somewhere else, I feel really safe. I know what Adesu is capable of. This Pokemon can secure from far away. This Pokemon has a lot of vision. Um, he can use Shadow Sneak to see the enemies, and he can also use Shadow Sneak to reduce the defense. So when I play a Pokemon like Talonflame or Tita and I run to the enemies, I can legit just one-shot them immediately. They focus me because I'm in the front line and there's a Decidueye just throwing arrows, arrows, and arrows. Because the blue buff is so strong and so many Pokemons are so strong because of the blue buff, I feel like Decidueye is so impressive. He can just two-shot the Greninja with with two arrows. And I feel like if you maximize Decidueye and you have a great comp, Decidueye is gonna be completely dominant throughout the entire game. It has bad things, like if it doesn't score, it doesn't get a lot of value because of attack rate. But I do think a good team, even if the other lane is losing, can make the Decidueye win the other lane and then be completely broken.
There's also a plus like Registeel buff synergizes so well with the Citadel. Like
Hmm.
there was one game in which I Spirit Cycled one Snorlax and I did 4k and a half. Like I was very surprised about this damage. Like you can like Choros. Okay, he has Shadow Sneak buff, debuff, but still 4k and a half. What the fuck? Like to a front laner, like if you are a front laner and you get this arrow, you get scared. You get instant scared. Like you don't want to be front lane anymore, right?
Yeah, guys, don't get me
That's
wrong.
what we mean.
Yeah,
Like it's so
Yeah.
impressive because of this.
guys, don't get
I
me
can't
wrong.
wait to see teams use it. I mean, I can't wait to see it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait.
Like it's high risk and high reward. Like Greninja's high risk and high reward, but Decidueye high risk, but like it's a really like huge reward that you receive after you get level 7 before 8 minutes and you have stacks. It's so impressive. I love to play for this as a Decidueye. I don't know any other different Decidueyes, but looking in a competitive scene, if
Same.
the Decidueye is good, you can you can shut down everyone. Okay, let's
Nice.
move on to the next Pokemon. The next Pokemon is gonna be Duraludon.
Duraludon.
I personally would put it on C because this is the Pokemon I hate the most. I think it should get deleted.
Uh,
And they would put it in the on tier list. But watching Adesu again and other Duraludon, I think if there's no B minus, I would put it in B as well.
I have one data about Duraludon, and if he gets level 15, this Pokemon has super high attack. Like, I think he gets 500 attack, and he has like a very 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 high attack speed. Like because of this, he's the Pokemon based on auto attacks that deals the highest damage on auto attacks. Like you cannot deny this fact. Like a Duraludon with ultimate and level 15 is hitting you, it's going to hurt a lot. Like I think I saw like 1.8k critical strikes from this Pokemon in Flash Cannon. Is be careful with this.
Yeah,
But I mean, he's so squeezy anyway, and he's not that good. But I think he has such a good things. Like, but and again, nobody's playing it and nobody's trying it. But I'm pretty sure this Pokemon, if he has some buffs, we could see some
Mm,
Duraludon for sure.
yeah. It's objective wise, it was pretty good. I think people were sleeping on Duraludon for a while after its nerfs, but now that objectives have less value and it doesn't have incredible mobility. I mean, you have some with Dragon Tail, but it doesn't feel like having the ability to shred objectives is as useful as it used to be. So I feel like this is a reasonable place for it. It makes sense for it to be kind of a B tier Pokemon. It's very specific, it feels like.
yeah, like
There's,
yeah, this
sorry. There's another point I want to make for Duraludon. The people think that the Duraludon is easy to kill, but if you play Flash Cannon and once you get level 11, you can actually stun people for like 1 second and a half, and if you are around your team, like there's no way you die. Like Flash Cannon stun is so good because it's almost instant, it's super long range, it's so good to catch people. Like people actually don't think about this, but Flash Cannon stance at level 11 is super 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 good. Like this ability is so strong.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay, moving on to the next attacker. The next attacker is gonna be Espeon. I think Espeon is B plus right now because I feel like Espeon is one of the few Pokemons that can like again protect the zone and outsecure enemies once it's get level 4. If you make a jungle split strat and Espeon is level 4 on bot lane, and if she dominates the bot lane and she gets level 8, she can play around the team. Like if you're looking for an objective, if you are level 8 earlier and you have higher level than the enemies, you can make so many plays with Espeon. Espeon has great secure. It got a buff. It is pretty strong right now, and I feel like if you play around Espeon and you have a good team composition, Espeon is gonna shine like really hard because I feel like this Pokemon is not better than Sylveon right now, but I feel like good Espeons can do a lot of stuff. Again, like I'm talking from experience. I'm playing ladder. I didn't play in competitive, but I feel like seeing a Espeon level 15 in at 3 minutes makes something out. Like playing against a good team and playing Espeon and you are bot lane and you are level 15 and 3 minutes, it says something. I feel like this Pokemon can shine if you play it correctly.
I don't feel Espeon is behind Sylveon. Like Espeon has such a good early game like Sylveon, and that's why Sylveon is A minus. Like Espeon can do the same thing that Sylveon does. He's very impressive in early game. If he plays cooldown and blue buff, you have Psyshock every 3 seconds and like point three. Like I played Espeon one game and I was kinda oh, perma pushing a mine. Like mine couldn't do anything against Espeon. Since this reason, I think Espeon should be a little higher than Sylveon actually. And also mid game and late game wise, I think Espeon is better than Sylveon now because it's it feels like it is a mate of hit and run. While Sylveon is you have to be there for constant DPS. Like you cannot leave the fight so easily as Espeon that is just hit and run, can and
Yeah.
go, can and go.
Yeah, the stuns and secures are really nice on Espeon. I'd probably rather have one on my team than a Sylveon. I think both of them are both kind of fine. A minus seems fair. I do think Espeon's probably more useful than Sylveon, but it is also very very squishy and just kind of yeah. You got to play. You have to protect it really well. But if you do, the nice thing about it is compared to Sylveon is it gets these huge stuns. I think the stuns are awesome.
Mhm. Okay, so we put it on A minus for now. Okay, moving on to the next attacker, Delphox. I'm gonna put it to A plus and let Adesu talk first.
I think it's fair. Like Delphos needs blue buff, and the early game of Delphos is so bad. Like your team can actually lose the whole early game because you pick Delphos. But there's a reward for sure of picking Delphos. Once you hit level 11, he's so good. One of the best characters of the game actually. But you need to get to that point, and you need to get to that point before losing the game, and that usually doesn't happen. So yeah, it's high risk, high reward, like Atlas says. Like you need a team that take cares of you while you are farming.
And what would you
If
run
you
on Delphox?
what I run on Delphots,
Yeah, like
but
because you say Delphox is strong, but you're not saying what is strong about her.
uh okay, the Delphos is good because it's permanent DPS. Like the ultimate is the lowest cooldown of the game. It helps you boost, it helps you defend. And Mystical Fire plus Flame Charge, it gives you the enough mobility to kite mine, to play
Mm-hmm.
against me and dodge everything. Um, you can actually outrange Glaceon as well. Like it has really good matchups in the current meta, but you need to get there. You need to get there, and you need to hit the skill shots. If you are bad at Delphos, that Pokemon is not for you for sure. Like you need to hit the skills. If you don't hit the skills with Delphos, it's not going to be worth, and that's a risk as well. So that's why he is not S or S plus, because you need to hit things, and people don't.
That's interesting. I wonder. I mean, because when you compare it to Cram lanes better, and it's not as inconsistent. But yeah, once you get level 11, especially with a blue buff, you are throwing mystical fires and flame charges repeatedly. You could just keep going, keep going, keep going. So probably if you're more skilled, you're getting more value out of Delphox maybe than Cram. But it is a bit of a liability where Cram does really well early. So yeah, that's interesting. A plus, huh? Okay.
I
Like
would,
if you are a
yeah,
Delphos capable of hitting every mystical
Mm-hmm.
fire, you win the game
Yeah.
automatically.
It's just insane amounts of damage, and you can't really chase it down. It can chase you. It's pretty solid. Yeah.
It's super good.
yeah, I agree with every one of you. Like I think A plus is a good spot. It has bad early game, but good mid and end game. And because the map is so big and you can farm so much, again, you can farm a lot. So I would like in the old map I would have put Delphox in A or A minus because you can just take the farm. If I'm a Greedent and I see a Delphox, I'm gonna keep running at her until she has no farm left. But because the map is so big, you cannot be everywhere on Greedent. If you can have two Greedents, it's another thing, but you only have one. Okay, moving
Delphos
on.
is like Greedent, right?
Yes. Moving on to
Yeah,
the next
the
attackers. We have only two
the
left,
Devil.
and it's gonna be Glaceon. I think Glaceon is S plus, and I'm gonna put it as plus, but I'm gonna let Sprockets talk first.
Yeah. I mean, this Pokemon's crazy. Icy Wind is insane. I think people were kind of unaware of what Icy Wind was doing before because it was already sort of putting out about this kind of damage, but we didn't have a blue buff or anything like that. It also got buffed. It can just stay at extreme range and throw out absurd amounts of damage. I feel like it's broken. It's gonna get a nerf. So play it while it exists because they're gonna tune this thing down.
I played Glaceon like before this map with a CD build actually. Like if you play Cell Bell Amplifier and Black Runes, you get and once you hit level 9, you can get perma Icy Wind without blue buff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, And there, I noticed that I can keep Icy Wind with 8 stack, and I felt that there was actually good. But since they buff Icy Wind like by 25% more damage, and now you can do this at level 4 and get pressure on the map. He has good early game, he has good mid game, he has good late game, good DPS, has some survivability. Like it has every tool in the game. I'm not gonna lie. It's reliable damage because you don't have to aim. Like we cannot deny that Glaceon is super strong right now
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
many reasons.
Hmm.
Yeah, like talking about the EV evolutions as well, like she gets her ultimate at level 8. She's one of the best junglers right now, and because she gets her ultimate level 8, she can get the early ultimate at 8 minutes and use her ultimate just to kill someone, to get more XP, like to get more value. I feel like Glaceon is one of the picks that, in a competitive perspective, you need to see how to counter this Pokemon. How do you play against this Pokemon? Do you ban it? Do you counter pick it? Do you pick it yourself? How do you like in a competitive scene? There are always broken Pokemons. Like not always, but in a game where there's always gonna be one strong Pokemon, you think about what can you do against this Pokemon. So like if you see a Glaceon, you wanna counter pick it or pick it yourself because it's broken. You don't want to miss it out, and that's why I think
Hmm.
it's an S plus spot. Yeah. So everyone agrees for S plus, and now we go for another broken Pokemon, Mew.
Yeah.
I think Mew is one of the best Pokemons in the game right now. It has good mechanics, and I think like if people can play Mew on their full potential, they can do a lot of stuff. Like there's so many possibilities and so many ways where you can be annoying and be strong at the same time. I feel like Mew is just one of the Pokemons that can always be fun and it can just do whatever it wants. It has, like Adesu said, one of the most HP as an attacker, which doesn't really make sense because it's already so strong. Its third
Yeah,
auto attack does incredible amount of damage, and I think Mew is just like a must.
yeah. Did you guys know this? Like Mew is the second highest HP attacker, just behind Sylveon. Why? Why is this? Like I don't understand why he has such a high HP pool. Like I don't think it doesn't need it. Like why is not like Duraludon, Decidueye, Greninja, or Cinderace? Like this Pokemon needs to be squeezed here for sure. Also, he has like 230 depth, which is super high in attacker as well. Like I don't know why they put such tanky stats on a Pokemon like it's running
Yeah,
like has such survivability and many tools. Like they are wrong. Like they are definitely wrong with this character. The design is not good. Like the design is super good because it's so funny to play, but it needs some nerfs for sure. Like at the numbers, not the actual mechanics of game or gameplay.
Yeah. I love the skill expression that this Pokemon has. If you're a great player on Mew, the things you can do are just silly. It's amazing to watch, but it's way overpowered. I think its boosted is insane. It does too much damage. I mean, at least there's some counterplay with being able to walk in front of these boosteds. That's nice. At least there's that. But yeah, you get a solar beam at level 1, then you power it up at level 3 with a wall that pushes enemies back and stuns them. It's so much stuff. It's so much, and a great player on Mew is just unbelievable. It's clearly overpowered. It's clearly going to get some nerfs, but this is very common in Pokemon Unite where a Pokemon will come out either super underwhelming or sometimes super powerful, and Mew is just super powerful right now.
yeah,
They definitely need to nerf the early game damage. Like
Hmm.
the damage in late game is fine, the mid game is more or less fine, but in early game is just too high. Like they need to do something with this Pokemon, and I'd rather they nerf their HP defense and special defense than the his damage. Like this Pokemon needs to be squeezed here
yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Alright, we agree last plus. Sprockets, you
Hmm.
can decide the next either defender, support, or wonder, or speedsters.
Well, I see. We got speedsters and supporters. Right? Let's just start with supporters. I mean, we got a big one right there, and there's an easy conversation to be had. I think Mime. It got nerfed recently, so it's probably B plus now. Not
Oh
very
yeah.
good. You don't really see it competitively. No one likes using them anymore. So it's sad, but that's what happens when you get
Yeah,
nerfs.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's how it goes. B plus.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God, this nerf of mine make him useless. We had
Yeah.
some fun during the first week, but yeah, they hot fits mine now. It's useless.
Yep.
Nobody picks it.
Okay, guys,
Bad now.
jokes
Yeah,
aside, I think Mime is one of the most annoying Pokemon in the game.
Without question. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. All three of these Pokemon that you have in S plus tier are just so brutal right now. Mime is the game currently, it feels like. It feels like Mime is the game.
Like playing ladder every day and playing against the Mime, I don't want to play my Pokemon anymore. I was thinking of a way how to counter Mime or how to avoid Mime. I started playing Talonflame because I don't want to see, I don't want to fight, I don't want to be near this Pokemon. I just,
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't know why it's so strong. I always think it's a support. Why can it do everything? It can heal, it can deal damage, it can 1v9 as a support.
Legit, one Pokemon is so overpowered when everybody complains about it, about playing against it, and that's us. Like if you are in our voice call when there's a mine in the enemy team, everyone, literally everyone complains about mine.
Yeah,
Everyone,
like
especially me, by the way.
again, like looking in a competitive perspective, it shut down so many Pokemon. It has a great early game. After it gets scoring in, it deals more damage. After it gets level 6, you can't do anything against it. You just don't want to see it in your game. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to our next support, Eldegoss. I'm gonna put Eldegoss on B. Let you talk.
What do you even what do you do? I don't know. Eldegoss for the longest time, I feel like, what do you do with this Pokemon? They nerfed it. They nerfed it a lot. Blissey took its job, and now you think, okay, so maybe it's not Blissey, but now it's Mime that's taking its. Like, where do you put this Pokemon in the attacker role? Is it? I don't know. I always feel like for the last. I wish I could remember when it happened, but for the last so many months, where do you even play Eldegoss? I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea where to play it. I
that's a
think it's a low tier Pokemon for me.
that's a good question. I think Eldegoss has uses like all the other Pokemon on B tier. That's why I put it on B tier. I think interesting is that you could run Eldegoss with X attack on the botlane side. I feel like Eldegoss could be a potential one-shot character that surprises enemies in the competitive scene, because no one really thinks about what can Eldegoss do. And if you play Eldegoss as an attacker and you play X attack, I think it has uses because um, like Hoopa is not as good compared, because I feel like we're going to it next like later, but I feel like Eldegoss ultimate does a lot of damage actually and has good healing. Like it can set up a team fight, and that's why I think Eldegoss is a good Pokemon. It can support your Pokemons from behind. Leaf Tornado is a really good ability because it can blind enemies like Glaceon or Greninja or every attacker. And I feel like people sleep on Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss could be useful in competitive scene as a surprise that no one expects.
Like honestly, the unite reward was so bad for Eldegoss. Like actually, when you united with Eldegoss before, you were out attacking the enemies like for sure. Like and you were actually 1v1 like almost every character with Eldegoss after you use unite because he attacks so fast. His auto attacks are really strong, especially if you run muscle band and its attack. But now right now he doesn't get attack speed. He just gets insane cooldown reduction, which is not good enough in my opinion. Also, don't never ever forget that Leaf Tornado is one of the best skills for engaging and disengaging in this game. And I feel that's the use of Eldegoss, like the only use of Eldegoss actually. Leaf Tornado is still good.
Yeah,
And
so
you can protect from Icy Wind, blinding the enemy Glaceon.
what
That's
Yeah.
it? Actually, I don't know. I didn't try it.
I haven't tried it this way.
I mean, yeah. I just feel Eldegoss is one of those Pokemon for me where I feel like for the longest time I just don't know where to put it, and I don't disagree that you could do some attacker stuff with it, but it always feels like
Yeah.
why, why do that?
So guys, would you put it on a C tier or
I think B is fine.
B
These
is
are
fine.
it's all these Pokemon that are. I mean, I don't know. When I kind of look at Pikachu, it does kind of fall into this tier as
Like
well, where it's like,
if
what do you do
there's
with all these Pokemon? I don't know.
if for some reason auto attack attackers will be like really good, Eldegoss will be better because you can blind them. But
Hmm.
you see the S plus,
yeah?
there's actually not auto attackers.
All right,
So
moving on
yeah,
to the next support, Wigglytuff. I'm gonna put it to A minus and let you talk again.
Don't know
I
what.
think it's better. It's better than it was. You know, it feels like it is in a better spot than it was. It's kind of, I mean, it's mean when you're walking around with a Mime or something like that. I feel like there are other tanks you'd probably slot in, but I actually have been seeing more and more Wiggly, and yeah, I think it's better than it was. That's for sure. It used to kind of hang right out with Eldegoss, I thought, which is why are you playing this over Blissey? But it seems to be doing okay. Maybe B plus is a little more accurate for it. That's just my thought.
And this is what do you think?
I agree with Spragels. Like, if you play Wigglytuff, if you play Rollout, the new map is a bit messy for bouncing, right? With Rollout, like it's actually hard. And if you play Sing, I don't feel I don't know how a Wigglytuff can sink a Mew or a Glaceon. Like they just
Mhm.
step back and that's it. Like and they kill you. Hmm. Like Sync is really good against other melees and all-rounders and speedsters. It's super good against Talonflame. It's super good against Aurora, Absol, but
Mhm.
not against the attackers that are S plus right now.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
they're just too
Snorlax,
far
it's
away.
better. It's better because he can engage with Jet Pattern or it has better engage. It's instant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
Snorlax feels like it does take a lot of spots from people right now because it
Mhm.
can get there. Heavy slam can get there, and block can really set up some amazing stuff. But yeah, got Luke. Go
Okay,
ahead.
guys, I'm gonna agree with you on Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff is also B plus because it got better over the time because no one really plays Blissey. But I also
Yep.
think that Wigglytuff can be in a really good team composition with Mime. I saw people playing Wigglytuff Mime on bot lane and completely dominating the bot lane. The bot lane couldn't do anything. They keep getting stunned. Like Wigglytuff was the support of the Mime attacker, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. And I think
Yeah.
Wigglytuff can be really useful for other Pokemon, and it has also got some good uses. Okay, let's move on to the next support. The next
So
support is
that's
gonna,
but that's just in early game, right? Like in
yeah,
the laning phase, because the enemy could actually not kill mine, not kill Wigglytuff, and they just suffer, right?
yeah. And
But
also,
what if they play Espeon?
guys,
Espeon can actually fight against that lane.
do you think Double Slap is it now better than Dazzling Gleam, or what do you
Yeah,
I personally
with the
like
new buff,
Secure, but I
yes.
haven't tried it really. I always like Big Burst personally, just because last hitting matters so much. But I have not played around enough with it. Is it better now?
Yeah, now free slaps are more damage than Dazzling Gleam itself.
Nice.
So if you get 5 slaps, is way more damage than that Dazzling Gleam right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to Blizzy. Blizzy has been really dominant in the last map and it was always really high. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna put it on A tier for now and let you guys talk again.
Ah, yeah, Blissey. Blissey has a problem, and it's like it doesn't farm fast.
Mhm.
And this map is full of farm. Like if you pick Blissey for supporting one of the like I would play Blissey in my team plays Greninja, for example, because it gives Greninja what it lacks, survivability. Or for example, Tyranitar is also good with Blissey. Like it has just some uses, but it's not OP anymore, and it's not a must for sure. But it's still strong for sure. That ultimate is just too broken still.
Yeah, it's got a great ult. I think it's one of those weird things where we've seen Blissey completely fall out of favor because of things like Mr. Mime. And then when you see a Pokemon as dominant as Mr. Mime, you see things kind of move in to support it, or things move in to sort of, counter it on the enemy team. And interestingly enough, through all that shuffling, this Pokemon that was crazy overpowered, Blissey, just kind of falls out of favor and people aren't using it. But I don't think that necessarily means that it couldn't have a good place and it isn't still very, very solid. I just think it's not the flavor of the week right now, and it kind of lost its job a bit to Mime and whatever supports Mime. I bet some teams can still use it well. I think A is super fair.
Yeah, I also think like that Blizzy lost kind of the way she does with the new map because she cannot farm and you pick Blizzy to support a Pokemon like Greninja or even like I think if you support Tyranitar with Blizzy, Tyranitar could be really strong because we go to the Tyranitar later, but I feel like Blissey is one of the Pokemon that you can pick to let other Pokemon shine even brighter. Like, even though the Pokemon is kind of bad, if there's a Blissey, it can support it, and it's a supporter role, and it can do so much with the Pokemon.
Hmm.
Okay, let's move on to another role. Adesu.
Yeah.
Hoopa.
Defenders. Oh wait, Hoopa. Yeah. I forgot Hoopa.
Hoopa,
Uh,
Hoopa, Hoopa.
Hoopa. I kind of
I
forgot
can't
it.
wait to hear you guys talk about Hoopa because I made my tier list, which I made a tier list on Monday, last Monday, and it's more general. It's not for only competitive play. It's like a general tier list for most players, and I straight up have no idea where to put this Pokemon because it feels like everything that Hoopa did. In some ways, it can still do all this stuff, but it doesn't have the same like there used to be second Dreadnought, and then there
Yeah,
used to be Zapdos, and you knew what you were going to do with Hoopa in these moments. And now I feel like some teams could make incredible use out of Hoopa. Like they could do some of the craziest plays ever, but also the fights are not as clear anymore. When people are fighting, what's going to happen, and how Hoopa is going to help the team. So I am so lost as to where this Pokemon goes competitively.
There's a problem with Hoopa. Like, uh, in the previous map, people were playing around points, so it was really easy to move through the points using portal. Right now, the people are distracted with the farm. Like they are in the middle of the map, they're farming jungle. The mobs are like farther from your point. So using portal for moving from a point to another is harder. And Hoopa has the biggest problem that it cannot farm. It cannot farm. It's just too slow.
yeah,
And this map is about farming. If you can play Mew, also Mew, the release of Mew made Hoopa to be unplayable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hoopa like Mew is doesn't need that much HP, sorry, um, and that's it. Like
yeah.
like Hoop. There's also Trick. Like Trick is still usable, but it's hard to use. Like what Pokemon do you use with Trick?
Like Talonflame.
Hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Talon. It's fun to trick Talon and then have it fly. That's pretty cool.
So I feel like I put Hoopa on B tier because I think even though Hoopa lost his job on the new map, and because like Hoopa is not as dominant as Mew, you pick Mew over Hoopa. But I still think Hoopa can do lots of stuff. He can, like, he has too many weakness, and that's why I think B tier is gonna be like the play for Hoopa because he can be useful, even though,
Yeah.
you know,
You can still score strat. I mean, you could score comp and run a
you know,
Hoopa, and you could base score, and you could set up a ton of different plays with it. So it's definitely way more situational, which is interesting. Everything in our B tier, except kind of for Venusaur, but everything in our B tier
yeah.
feels a lot more situational than maybe it used to be.
True.
All right,
But
moving
yeah.
on to defenders. We have our big
Cool.
boy Snorlax, and I'm gonna put him into A plus.
Yeah, he's super solid. Super solid.
I think Snorlax is one of, like, not the best defender. Um, I feel like Snorlax has so many good uses. If you run him with XP share, he doesn't need a lot of XP. He doesn't really need to farm because like Body Slam is so oppressive. And it's interesting because in a competitive way of thinking, you could use Snorlax to invade the enemy jungler because the jungle is so open and no one can really protect the jungle. You can run to the enemy jungle and just be annoying. Like because there's so much farm in this competitive, like in this map, in a competitive way of thinking is if someone invades, you deny the enemy jungle routine. So like he takes his jungle too late, he can't take a second rotation or a third rotation. While you're jungler will get a lot of value. He gets so much XP, he gets over the enemy jungle, and that's what Snorlax can do. But he can also go bot lane or top lane because he has good last hitting. So he's really impressive overall, and his body slam and block is just so impressive. Like you can deny enemy because there are so many walls, and you can just be completely annoying and just chase someone.
What Snorlax is good about is making time. His ultimate is super good for making time. right now, since people doesn't favor Rayquaza that much, they want to control before actually doing it. It's not rush times at this moment. Like the ultimate is giving a lot of valuable seconds for your team, so they can come back from that and still hold the game. Also, like Atlu said, you can put Snorlax everywhere. You don't know where Snorlax is going to be. Top, your jungle, his jungle, bot lane. It's capable of being anywhere. And yeah, it's body slam with jet button can get through the squeeziest carries, and also it can actually deny mine. Like with block, with you can protect your team very easily with
Hmm.
Snorlax.
So like, would you think Snorlax could be a potential S tier, or do you think A plus is fair on
A
Snorlax?
plus is fair, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah. A plus I think is super fair. We saw it do some really cool stuff at Worlds. I think it surprised some people at Worlds because it had sort of fallen out of favor for a while, but it kind of came back and had some really impressive plays. And right now on this map, especially with just having a tank that can jump all the way to the back of the enemy team if you need to, it just sets up so many amazing plays. And yeah, like you said, you can run into the enemy central area, into that jungle. You have great secure. You can out secure most squishy Pokemon just with that big tackle and boosted. So it's really fun seeing Snorlax now. I think it's super solid. And block can push you off a point from scoring without even having to break your shields. So
Yeah. Alright, moving on to the next defender, Crustle. I would put Crustle on B plus because I think Crustle shines on this map right now because I feel like Crustle is really good because he can score. Like this map is not more about like looking for objectives, if it kind of makes sense what I'm saying. Like he's gonna be annoying and he's gonna try to score around the map. I think there are better options in Crustle if you think about scoring and being annoying. But I feel like Crustle has some good uses once like he plays Goal Getter, Score Shield, and he just runs all around the map. You could also play Crustle with Scissor, but I feel like you could play Crustle like back in Season 1 days again. And there's some good uses, in my opinion.
Legit, I don't have a really strong opinion on Crustle. Like I didn't see
Yeah,
any
I
Crustle
haven't seen
in
any
the
Crustle.
whole games I'm playing. Like, but thinking about it, I don't like. I don't know. Scissor has so many walls. Like it could be good. I think Crush's Ultimate is one of the best, in my opinion. Like it does so
mhm.
much damage. Not gonna lie. It you sleep on it, you die. You die
Yeah.
for sure. But I don't know. This Pokemon needs something
Yeah,
else.
I haven't seen him much. Like, I haven't seen him at all, actually. Like, in my experience and overall, like, I feel like it has some good uses. I wouldn't put it on a B tier because I feel like because this map is made for farming and scoring, Crustle could be really good. Because you don't really go for Zapdos and just win the game.
Yeah. I think it actually it's weird because you have to have a strategy formulated around the fact that you're going to be doing this with Crustle,
Yeah.
but it's so fast, it scores so well. If you have you have a score shield on it with one of the biggest health pools in the game. You're not going to stop it from scoring. You could put a, little score button on it and it's making plays and it'll easily get 300 points a game, which in a game where even if the enemies secure the big, fight in the center, they might not be able to score. It's it's way more viable, but you're right. I don't see anyone playing it, so it's going to take a team that wants that strategy. It's weird because Talon also does a similar job right now,
Yeah.
but Talon outputs more damage in some of the big fights. Yeah, I don't know. I think B plus is a pretty cool place to see it. I bet on a team that really utilizes it well, it's a monster.
Right. So B plus for now. Blastoise.
I
Hmm.
really love Blastoise.
Where would you put it, Adesu?
Don't really know, but I think we are sleeping on this Pokemon like for so long. Like Blastoise is not bad at all.
That's exciting to hear because the second you brought up Blastoise, I thought, fine. I feel like for the long time it's been fine. But what do you think we're sleeping on? What do you think it is?
This Pokemon is so good defending at points. Like you see a Blastoise defending a point, what you are thinking is, okay, I cannot score here. It's
Mm-hmm.
impossible. Also, it is easy to get a HP in this map, and Blastoise Ultimate is one of the best for teamfight as well. Blastoise can get level 14 so easily, and if he gets beyond level 14, it becomes unkillable. Like, I don't feel like Glaceon can kill Blastoise easily. Actually, Blastoise kill Glaceon. It's good for fighting Mine. Like, Mine cannot stance you. Mine will survive for sure your full combo, but if you are like if someone of your teammates are behind you, you will kill Mine for sure. And yeah, like Blastoise is immune to Snorlax. Like I feel like Blastoise works pretty well against the meta picks. It's just that nobody is playing it. Like I don't know.
I feel like Blastoise is good
Now I
as
really want
well.
to play Blastoise and try it. Not gonna lie.
Like I feel like Blastoise is good, but again, like in the old map, Blastoise had trouble getting there, getting to the level. The new map has a lot of farm, but I feel like Blastoise farms really slowly. Like once he gets stacks, he can farm really fast. He can get ahead, but every time I play Blastoise, I just feel like I'm not getting there. I I don't know. Like I'm trying to get to the level I want to achieve, but there are so many Pokemon like Glaceon or
Yeah,
Mew.
but you said the same thing as Trevenant, and then you changed your mind the next day. We
I mean,
did. I think we didn't try Blastoise enough. We are sleeping on it.
like, do you think Blastoise could be a potential candidate for like A minus, or do you think it's B plus?
I don't know where to place Blastoise right now because I didn't try it
Yeah.
that much yet, but I think it has potential for sure. Like I don't know why we're not playing Blastoise, not gonna lie. But what do you replace for Blastoise? Maybe that's a problem. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always run into that, right? Where you're like, this Pokemon's cool, but I'm
Yeah.
not swapping out whatever.
So like I think
Maybe Snorlax.
we let Blastoise for B plus for now and talk about the other defenders and maybe we change our mind. Okay, Slowbro. I think Slowbro is a solid A minus. I think Slowbro has good uses. You can like if you know how to use Slowbro correctly, I think it has interesting way on like playing in the competitive scene. Like we played Slowbro in a competitive like in a tournament and we lost because we didn't know how where to put Slowbro or how to use him. But you need to keep in mind Slowbro is one of the Pokemon. His ultimate can stun everyone. He can deny like Rayquaza shield. He can deny Score shield. He can hold the lane with Scald, and he can be really useful and really annoying. The interesting thing about Slowbro is he's really tanky. There's a lot of farm, and he has a good secure. Like he's not bad in early game. You just need to be level 4 to be good in the game. So I was thinking that Slowbro is a solid A minus because there's like a lot of things you can do with Slowbro. I feel like if you give Slowbro a blue buff, he could do potential things. We haven't tried it yet, but I think Slowbro is gonna be always good, like in different team compositions. For example,
Hmm.
in the Worlds, we played Slowbro to deny the Selena from T2 Mame, and it worked out at the end. I feel like Slowbro can be always useful. He has good early game secure. He is strong level 4. He can be annoying. I feel like because of Mime, a lot of defenders are not that good. Just because of Mime, in my opinion.
That's what I that's where I kind of land with Slowbro is. I mean, A minus is fine, but I just don't know. I guess you try to swap out something like Snorlax. I don't know. I actually felt like Slowbro got a little worse just because of how viable Mime is right
Yeah.
now. I love its Unite move. It's such an amazing Unite. If you catch the right Pokemon with its Unite in a big fight, it's great. But now the big fight has really changed. You know, it's like there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of someone running off to try to make a score. Like the big fight that we used to have, it feels so different now. But it's not
Yeah.
a bad Pokemon at all. I just feel like with Mime in there, I almost wonder what you're gonna do with Slowbro. I don't know.
Like a Pokemon with this ultimate will be always be usable for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the best in the game by far.
Hmm.
So do you think it should stay an A minus, or do you think because of Mime and Snorlax being so good, it should be in this competitive tier list at least in B plus, looking
Think,
forward?
yeah, think about it. Think about the matchups that
Yeah,
Slowbro has to face in this current meta. Is there any good matchup? Think about it.
yeah. Uh,
Like you will be mostly auto attacking mine or Snorlax,
Hmm.
and that's it. Because the other Pokemon are not getting into your range.
I feel like in this current meta, like the mages are really strong. Like mages, like especially attack mages, are really strong and they are shining really bright because they can do so much with the map. Because you can't really deny them XP because they are getting the XP. Like we said about Delphox, she needs XP. There's a lot of XP in the map, and I feel like because the mages are so strong, other Pokemons are weaker as well. And like Slowbro reduces the attack, but if there's a mage that constantly attacks Slowbro from far away, can Slowbro catch
Yeah.
it? Okay, looking to another defenders now. Mamoswine. I think Mamoswine is a solid A minus. I think,
I like Mamo right now. I actually
yeah,
think it's pretty sick.
like the
Go
plays
ahead.
you can make, and because of like Mamoswine can slow the enemy scoring. He can protect the zone, and he can just do kind of whatever he wants. I feel like Mamoswine wasn't strong because of Hoopa. Because if Mamoswine engages and Hoopa resets them, Mamoswine loses his value. But because there's no Hoopa and there's not really someone that can recover HP, Mamoswine can be really good in catching people, making plays, open plays, and I feel like Mamoswine could be so strong if you use it correctly, and I like Mamoswine a lot. I'm a big fan. I don't put it in A for now because I feel like um, it doesn't really deserve the A spot because it has some bad uses. But I feel like A minus is solid on Mamoswine because he can make plays and yeah, it's my opinion.
Yeah. Mamoswine has a room for this meta for sure. Like if you play Mamoswine bot lane, you know they're usually gonna fight mine. And Mamoswine just kills mine. Like, okay, mine, you're melee, I'm melee. I auto attack you, you die. That's it. And also, you play with a friendly Mew in your bot lane. Like if you do a one combo to the enemy Mew is going to die because Solar Beam plus Mamoswine combo one shots Mew for sure. Like it's been tested. Mamoswine is so fine. And if you play the top side, Mamoswine has really high IOE damage. You can
Hmm.
take the Natus so fast. You
Yeah,
can deny the enemy Natus while killing the enemy. I had so many uses. Mamo early game is so good. So
Yeah.
good.
And it got an inadvertent buff. It's weird because the Unite move changes have buffed some Pokemon and hurt some others. Where its Unite move I never thought was super impressive. But now a Pokemon like Mamo, its Unite is actually kind of more in line with a lot of the other Unites in the game because before people were just using Unite moves so that they could kind of go Super Saiyan and do a bunch of damage otherwise almost. But now Mamo's Unite's actually okay. It's on a pretty good timer. It does decent damage. I guess it does more than Blastoise if you hit all three hits. It's kind of disruptive. So it's actually kind of solid now. I'm kind of surprised that I like Mamo so much, but I do.
yeah.
Hmm.
So we agree on A minus. Moving on to the my favorite
Yeah, this
defender,
Pokemon is good for sure.
and I think Greedent is in a tough spot because Greedent hates Mime. I feel like
Hmm.
Greedent could be potentially A plus, but personally, as a Greedent main and a Greedent lover, I would put Greedent as an A because I feel like because of Mime and Mime being so oppressive against Greedent, I would rather don't want to play Greedent against Mime than other champion. I feel like because of Mime, Greedent loses a lot of value in the game. His value is to be annoying, to be around the map and be completely annoying. But if a Mime knows what Greedent is doing and he chases him and kills them instantly, then Greedent can't do anything. Greedent needs level 5 to be useful in the game. But because I feel like every time I play against a Mime and I play Greedent, I'm just completely annoyed. I wanna do like big places, I wanna engage, and every time I engage there's a Mime. He uses one power swap on me, and I can't move anymore. I can't run away with cover. I need to use my X speed, and I would rather want to play Greedent, like I mean something else than Greedent, and that's why I don't see him in A plus. I feel like because Mime is so oppressive and because it's a competitive way of thinking and there's no bans involved, I would not put Greedent on A plus because of Mime.
I won't
I
say
love
any word about Greedent. We got this
I
here.
yeah, I mean you're the Greedent king. I love Greedent. I think it's amazing. I often put it near the top of every tier list I make because I just think it's so unique and it harasses and scores in such an impressive way. But you're right, Mime is a real problem for this Pokemon. But in general, I just think Greedent always has insane value. But right now, Mime is really mean, for sure.
Yeah, like if you come to the speedsters, I can explain you why I don't want to play Greedent anymore. But for now, we
Yes, of course.
put
Yeah,
Greedent
yeah.
on A. Okay, moving on to the, I believe, last defender, Trevenant.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trevenant, also, like, as well talking from
Mm-hmm.
experience, I think Trevenant is a solid A, going slowly down to A minus to Mamoswine, because I feel like Trevenant can be really useful in competitive scene, because when he goes top lane and he wants to deny the enemy top laner from getting stacks, he can one-shot the enemy Natus, like the teammates Natus, instantly. Like they're gonna be gone and they can't contest it. Then he can protect the point after he gets level 5 and he can stay on the point as long as possible. So the speedsters or other Pokemon that can be really oppressive and push the top lane, there's Trevenant that can protect the top lane. If you like, because there are so many walls, Trevenant's Hornleash can stun longer. Trevenant's Hornleash stuns longer when he hits a wall with the enemy. So I feel like because Trevenant is also a really healthy Pokemon and there's no Hoopa involved, it has really good uses. It also gets stacks easily and gets level 7 easily. And that's why I think Trevenant is also good. I would have put it like Trevenant higher if it would be the old map because he can deny XP. I think Xperia is a really bad item right now on Trevenant or any Pokemon. I mean, not Xperia, Fluffytail. I think Fluffytail is one of the worst items in the game right now, and I think on the fairness X speed could be really good. But we can talk about the items if you want after the tier list.
Trevenant doesn't have very good matchups right now.
So
Like Glaceon is good against Trevenant, Mew is good against Trevenant. Mine is not that bad against Trevenant, but not good either. But if you check like I don't know, Snorlax can protect very well against Trevenant. But Trevenant is predictable. Like he's
yeah,
just good at being annoying, being durable, defending points,
so like
and that's good. Like he does such a good job there, but not at fighting, in my opinion. I don't know.
so like
I think
I would put Greedent in A because he has secure potential in the competitive scene. I think secure potential is always good, but because
Mm-hmm.
you don't really play. Like personally, I don't play Fluffytail on Trevenant. I don't have secure potential. Like, do you think Trevenant could be A minus because he's not that great anymore because of the other champs? Because other champs can outrun him.
yeah, maybe if the draft comes and you ban those characters that make actually Trevenant have a hard time, could be better. Like Trevenant is still a great Pokemon. He can do so many stuff. And he can give you a lot of time as well. And that's never bad for never.
Do
And
you
he's good
agree?
at protecting for sure.
Yeah. Do you agree, Spargles, or do you think?
Yeah, I really like Trevenant. I do think it's in a weird spot because I feel like every game I'm seeing a wall and then you're seeing these protected things behind it, and Trevenant kind of runs into Snorlax's wall. And you're just kind of pushing it around. You got a Mime and a Snorlax that are just kind of making its life pretty hard. But Trev is still pretty solid. You're right about its early game too. It's really solid early. It gets level 5 like that, and all of a sudden it can defend super well. But I do think, yeah, in some of the later fights, its positioning, it's like a little tough to get in and do what you want to do at times. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's still really good. I think A minus is fair for Trev.
Okay. I think
We don't.
moving on to the next, we should pick all rounders and speedsters at the end. Do
Okay.
you wanna do speedsters first?
I'm
Don't
happy
care.
with either one.
Okay, let's do all rounders first. The first all rounder
Okay.
is gonna be Garchomp.
Okay, he's
Yeah.
he's happy if we do speedsters first, right?
No, let's
Uh,
do all rounders first.
let's do all rounders. I don't know what you do with Garchomp. It's always in a weird spot. It's got more farm, but I don't know what you do with this Pokemon. It's always in a bad spot.
You can kite Garchomp, that's it. Garchomp is good against high HP targets that are brawling against him. As you see that S plus, S tier, and A plus, there's none of those Pokemon that does that. The only brawling Pokemon is mine, and you get permastun against mine.
Yeah.
So there's no spot for Garchomp again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see a future right now for Garchomp because like it can be top lane and be like the top lane Rotom gamer, but I feel like Garchomp can be outsmarted and it can be like just outkited, that it loses its value. Also,
Hmm.
it's a good team fight Pokemon, but because everyone is running around, everyone is running in circles, Garchomp loses his focus. I think you can make big plays with Garchomp, and I think Garchomp is a good Pokemon. Like a lot of people would disagree with us if they are like Garchomp mains, but I feel like in a competitive scene you don't really want to go Garchomp over other Pokemon.
So
Yeah.
there's another thing in this map that we didn't talk about yet. Is like Rayquaza damage is way higher than Zapdos damage. If you get hit by that Draco Meteor, you get like 2.5k damage. Garchomp was flipping Zapdos very easily in the other map,
Yeah.
but right now he will lose a lot of HP if he tries to rush Rayquaza. So cannot do that anymore, like easily at least.
So do you guys all agree on Garchomp for CT for now?
Yeah, it's just low. Luckily, there's more farm. So I think a team that really wanted to focus on Garchomp, I mean, it'll easily be level 15. You could solo the Reggies in the bot path if nobody cares about them. I mean, there are some things you could do with it, but it always just feels like it's in one of the worst places in
But
the game.
Yeah.
Garchomp's
but
been in one of the worst places in the game
but
forever.
but even if you try to do the solo Rekis in bot lane, there will be a Mew that will solar beam able to secure you.
Yeah,
Because
true.
Garchomp doesn't have secure,
Yep.
Yeah.
unluckily.
Alright, moving on to the next Aronda. The one Aronda everyone talks about. Lucario. I personally think Lucario is in a A plus spot, not S. I feel like Lucario E-Speed is really strong on the new map because there's so many like little creeps that you can run over and use E-Speed, like for example on Natu, on the Swablues. I feel like E-Speed could be so strong on Lucario. I personally think you can run a comp without Lucario in the competitive scene right now, rather than running Lucario because Lucario is not meant for the comp, and that's why I put it in A plus. But I do think Lucario is one of the best Pokemon in the game. I think it's strong. It has everything you need, and you can also run Power Punch. I feel like people sleep on Power Punch. I personally think a good Power Punch player can make big places, even though A speed is so strong. Like people are not playing Power Punch because they don't see a player make use of the Power Punch. But I can predict that Power Punch is gonna be meta again, even though E-Speed is so impressive.
Not agree with you. Spirit is way better. Like you can do like you have to be very careful about Lucario speed right now.
Mm,
He just jumps over the front lane and gets into you, especially if you play Decidueye, if you play Glaceon, you can be assassinated by good
yeah,
Lucarios actually.
I
I
think
don't know.
I think I'm wrong, like putting him on A plus because he's so good. But I personally think you can run other things over Lucario in the competitive
Nah, I don't
scene.
think it's S. It's A plus
A
for sure.
plus as well. Sparks, what do you think?
Mm,
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's not bad at all. I think E-Speed's definitely the way to go right now. I love Power Punch. I personally play Power Up Punch, but with just so much farm on the map, and like you said, the Swablues, it feels like there's always a big chunk of enemies up. And like Adesu said, just the ability to get through the entire enemy team to those squishy Pokemon you want to get to. I think it's really solid. But I also have noticed that it just you don't need to have it in a team comp, which is interesting. There are a lot of the all rounders are really interesting right now because they're all pretty solid. Not all of them. There a lot of them are pretty solid, but you also don't need them, which
Yeah.
is weird. So yeah, but a good Pokemon for sure. I mean, Lucario's never not been great.
So A plus as well. All
I
right.
would say so, yeah.
Sure, that works for me.
Definitely
A
good,
or A
but
plus. Yeah,
Going to Charizard. I think like
I
didn't
like
see
Char right now.
I didn't see a lot of Charizards, but the Charizards I saw weren't that good. But when I saw my teammate, for example, Geese or other Charizards, they were always doing something on the map. Because the map is so big and no one really wants to take the farm, if you play a team composition that's it's gonna be annoying and you need an attacker that needs the farm, Charizard is your man. He can farm the entire map. He has great early game. Once he gets level 5, he has great mobility. And once he gets level 9, he can just use ultimate, farm ultimate back, use ultimate, farm ultimate back, like a circle. You use your ultimate, make something, you run away, farm. And I think Charizard is a really strong teamfight Pokemon, and it can also one-shot one of the few top tier Pokemons right now. So I feel like Charizard is really really strong. His ultimate can get cancelled and has bad habits, like bad things about it. But I feel like Charizard is a solid A plus right now. Not S because I still think you can run my like over Charizard with Mime and one shot them. But I
Mm.
feel like Charizard is really really strong.
You can play Charizard right now in a very different kinds of ways. You can sneak in a bus and wait for the squeezy target to appear and just try to
Yeah,
kill him. You can play against the front line, just kiting them with flamethrower and fire blast. Like, yeah, he can do many stuff in every fight. But you need to be very careful with Charizard. You cannot die the first
yeah.
ever. You need to hold and hold and hold your ultimate. You cannot ultimate a Mind when he has ultimate. You cannot ultimate a Mew when he has ultimate. You can actually ult Glaceon and will kill Glaceon if he has ultimate, but be careful of his passive.
Hmm.
Like you have to keep in mind so many styles. You cannot play Charizard randomly like crazy. You have to be patient. You have to be good at it for sure.
Yeah, I really like Char right now. I thought I wouldn't like it so much, just with Unite move changes. I thought, oh, is Char's Unite move gonna take too big of a hit? And it feels like it's not as good as it was, but it's still really solid. And like you said, Gotlu, it farms like crazy. So
Yeah.
Char just moves around the map so easily, and it arrives to every single fight with a Unite, which is pretty impactful. So I really like Char right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next rounder. I think Machamp has lost his value. I think
What do you mean? Machamp is crack. A plus. Submission OP
I think
with blue buff.
I
This
think
is
Machamp
impressive.
like let me clarify. Like, I think Machamp is a good Pokemon, but I also think Machamp is a bad Pokemon. I think because the map has so much farm and it can get level 30 easily, it can be really really strong. But I feel like every time I see a Machamp, he doesn't do anything. Like I'm not sure
Nah,
what
I not
I don't know.
disagree. Disagree. Completely disagree.
Okay,
This
Adesu.
Pokemon has the biggest like it still has the best ultimate in the game. If you hit a good ultimate, you win. You win. You insta win the fight, and you are playing like it's so good at pushing Regileki, at defending Regileki. Okay, it doesn't have the greatest early game, but it's fine. Like it is worth it in mid game and late game, in my opinion. Submission got a actual buff. I don't feel this
I don't.
that not. Okay, it's not good, but I think now it's usable. Like you can if you flash into someone, like you get submission cooldown once you use it, so you can actually double submission people if you play with blue buff for some reason and amplifier. Like it's not bad at all for sure. Submission is not bad at all right now. And also you will have dynamic pants with edge button that you can one shot any backlaner in the game.
I
Always.
guess you're
You
right.
have this like if you have this tool, this Pokemon cannot be bad
So
with
like,
this ultimate. It's impossible.
where would you put it for your thoughts?
Not sure. Like probably A minus.
Hmm.
Like I personally um disagree because I think Machamp. I don't know why, but I feel like because everyone is kiting and everyone is running around doing whatever he wants and everyone is just doing his own thing. Machamp
Yeah, but
kind of
this
loses.
Pokemon has become an assassin, not a fighter anymore.
Yeah, maybe if you
Now
think
it's
about
like an
if
assassin.
you have a different mindset, Machamp will be better. I just didn't see any Machamp doing great things. That's why I don't like it. But what do you think, Sparkles? Like,
That's
Yeah.
exactly where I feel like it's not bad at all, and I never see it do something useful right now. And it's weird because I can't even fully put that into words why this is
yeah,
happening to Machamp. It's not a bad Pokemon. It does good damage. It's solid. It's like Unite move, like Adesu said, can be amazing. But for some reason, I just feel like I don't see it doing that much in these matches. I personally don't like submission at all, but
yeah,
that's total personal preference. I just think that move, I just don't like the way it performs. I'm sure some of the best players in the world, like you two, could make great use out of that move. I personally am still just like, please don't use submission. Please use dynamic punch. But I feel the same as you, I think this is a really good Pokemon, and I rarely see it do something on this new map. for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd have to think longer about why that is, but I'm just super unimpressed by Machamp right now. Still great, but I don't know. I just don't see it that useful.
I think Adesu has a point. If a Pokemon has an ultimate that can completely like
Mhm.
change the flow of the fight and can look for openings, it can be always useful. I just don't know why.
Without
Like I
question.
just don't know what to say. Like I see a Machamp, he doesn't do anything. Like I think A minus is fine, but I would personally put it on B plus if
I
Adesu
think
agrees with it. But
I think A minus. I mean, Adesu thinks it's higher. I also think we're still talking about a really good
yeah,
Pokemon, and maybe I haven't seen the way to play it right in this meta. So I feel like A minus is maybe more fair because it's not.
it's
I
not.
can't say it's
I don't know.
bad. It's not
It's not bad at
bad.
all. Like, but
Yeah.
you have to have a very different mindset. Like,
Yeah,
okay, in the
I
in the
guess.
previous meta, my chance usually run into like up as front laners. They just step in and try to ultimate so many people as they can.
Hmm.
Right now, you don't have to play like this. You have to go into the enemy back lane. You have to be annoying, make the back laners of the enemy team
Yeah.
actually like fear you. You know, like
Mhm.
they should be really scared of you
Yeah.
because you
Okay.
are there lurking for them and waiting for an opportunity to one shot them because you one shot them as Machamp. You just one shot attackers.
Mhm.
Glaceon should be very very scared of Machamp.
All right. Okay, we can put it in minus for now.
Sure.
Let's see. Dragonite.
Ah no,
Yeah, Desu, where do you put Dragonite?
no, just no. Okay, Dragonite has a new tech with blue buff that if you play like 2% cooldown in Black Runes, you can Dragon Dance will have dealing a single auto attack. But even with this new tool that they give Dragonite, I think it's still bad. You cannot do nothing against mine. Like if mine is there, you auto attack mine, you can get power swap by mine, and then you never can reach out of his range anymore, and you cannot kill mine. Like I tried this character against mine so many times, and I feel useless.
Mhm.
And he's not a good like he's not a good lurker or an assassin. Like if you jump into the enemy back lane, it's not. It doesn't have that impact, right? Right? Like any other Pokemon like Absol, like Talonflame, it needs time to kill people. You need time to
Yeah.
kill people. It doesn't burst.
Yeah. Like I guess.
And
And
it's not like before where stealing a dreadnought was so you could just
yeah,
set it up with this hyper beam. Now if you steal Reggie Ice, you're like,
no,
okay.
yeah,
What did
exactly,
we get out of
exactly.
this?
Also that the secure. Oh, and one thing I tried this morning with Dragonite is like Dragonite cannot hit Rayquaza from the top, right, or left. You need to be at the bottom of Rayquaza, so you must be there, and that is exactly where mine was. So if you want to actually play Rayquaza as Dragonite, you need to be like in the middle or right below, and I don't like that at all because you cannot
Okay.
hit at the top anymore. You could hit Tatos from outside the pit, but right now you cannot, and that makes the character even worse.
Hmm.
Okay. Thinking about
Yeah,
a competitive way of perspective, I think like what Adesu said is true. I personally didn't play Dragonite yet, but I also think that Dragonite has some good uses. If you play competitively and you know what the Pokemon is capable of, it's good in securing. Once you get to level 5, it has a good like engagement on the bot lane or top lane because it can kill Pokemon easily with X attack. But I feel like, yeah, like I don't know, this Pokemon is just like you don't need to object this. I just sometimes think that Dragonite can be really useful, for example, in scoring compositions where he plays
Yeah.
Goal Getter.
It's still
ah,
got
yeah.
that. It's got
There
its
maybe.
unite. It's got a you got a score button. I even thought about that. Like, is Dragonite gonna come back with that? Hey, we're fighting in the center. I'm literally gonna unite
Uh,
back to your base, and I'm gonna score 100 really quick, and then come back. Like, is that gonna happen again? It
yeah.
totally could.
I think we need to like because it's a competitive tier list, we need to have a mindset of what can a Pokemon, what is it capable of. Even though there's a Mime, there's a Mew, and there's a Glaceon, it has good secure, it doesn't fall off, it gets level 8 and Dragonite, it gets Hyper Beam. Okay, we can say it's not that good against the others and it kind of falls off, but it can secure and it can score on enemy faces with level
I
5.
kinda like the early game of the Pokemon, but
Yeah,
there's another problem that Dragonite has is like the meta Pokemons can dodge Hyper Beam very easily. Icy Wind dodge Hyper Beam, Agility from me or coaching dodge Hyper Beam. How do you kill those Pokemons?
Like
How?
I would put Dragonite in B plus because I think it has uses. Like it's definitely not the worst Pokemon. It's not bad. It's not great. It's good. It's decent. Like it has uses. So I would put it in B plus rather than B
Like
because it's also
Chari more things. Charizard can test your Hyperbeam, Greninja dots, Delphos dots, Lucario dots, the Snorlax dots, like everyone dots Hyperbeam right now.
so. Do you
It's not good.
guys?
Sadly, but it's not good anymore.
It's interesting because I feel like the same conversation we're having about Dragonite in a different way is kind of the same thing we were saying about Machamp, where it's like this Pokemon's not terrible, but it's like, what does it do now? Yeah,
Cool.
I think B plus or A minus is fair, especially if someone maybe is trying more score heavy focused play with it. But boy, yeah, I think with objectives being less useful and you just not needing to be level 8 in the bot path for a Dreadnought or something, I don't know. I don't know what you do with a Pokemon like this. Its range is small too. Like just getting outranged by Icy Wind, you can never get near a Glaceon. Ever. No way.
Like what is interesting
Yeah.
is we played Dragonite in a team practice of us, and we played Dragonite with a flipping composition. Like we flipped away without losing any HP and losing the shield. And after we flipped it, we immediately went away because everyone had movement speed because of the shield, like because of the movement speed buff. So like
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment we lost the game, but we flipped away and then we won because someone expected us to flip away. So like if the enemy cannot predict what you do with the Pokemon, it can be useful. So I feel like B plus is fair for now, and we go to another Pokemon now.
But
Sure.
again, while you flip with Dragonite, you have to be in that small
Yeah.
zone, like you cannot Dragon Dance away at the top side and make the enemy team follow you. No, you have to be right below the Rayquaza to deal damage to Rayquaza, and that's a very dangerous spot.
Okay.
So it's not good for flipping because you get the stun, you get mine ultimate, you get everything.
So this is like as a Dragonite player, and I think the best Dragonite. What do you think? B plus or B for the current season?
B plus, B plus.
You're
I
asking
like
me?
Like,
Oh,
Pokemon is.
Adesu, right? Yes, he's the best dragon. Yeah, man. That's right. I of course thought you meant me.
I'm sorry.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Serena. Why do
Serena's
you,
freaking good, but weird, right? Mime really messes with Serena, but Serena's still great, I think.
But Sarina can just not fight mine anytime in the
Yeah,
game. Like
it
you don't
can't
need
fight
to.
Mime.
Like
I
I feel
put
like
it on
Sarina is
beta?
like Talonflame. Like he can do so many stuff. You can invade in the jungle. You can just outrun people. Like if you saw how Mame played against us in the wars, like he was outrunning us. Like just run, 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 secure things, make time. You can do the same thing as Arena. Like you don't need to stomp onto the enemies. And also you can stomp into Mew. You can stomp into Glaceon. This Pokemon is not bad. I don't know. I heard so many people saying Sarina is bad because they nerf 10% of stomp damage. Okay, they nerf 10% of stomp damage. Sarina has more damage than just stomp. Auto attacks, drop kits, ultimate. Maybe the damage output they nerf is 6% or 5%. The character still does the same thing. The
Yeah.
the Sylph is not nerfed
I
from
think
dropkick.
Serena's
The character is
also
still the same.
yeah.
It's fine. It's good.
I think like Serena's in a weird spot. Like as Spraggett said, Mime can um Mime can deny Serena and he can just stun her and kills her. But again, like if you have a different mindset and you play Serena in a different way, you could be using more the Pokemon because I feel like a lot of Pokemon, like a lot of players, still have the mindset of the old map. Like using this Pokemon like you would use in the old map. And if you run in like with Serena against a Mime and other Pokemon, you will just get one shot and you can't do anything. I feel like I'm also one of them that says Serena is not that good, but I feel like Serena can make places, she can open plays, and she can kind of do whatever she wants once she gets ahead. Once she gets ahead, she's really strong. I also feel like
Mhm.
Triple Axel could be useful. I think Triple Axel is a good ability. I don't think it's bad, great,
Yeah, it's not bad.
but
Triple Absol is better for stealing farm for sure. Maybe that's why some people prefer it.
guys,
But
let's
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, this
sorry. Let's practice talk.
Oh, I
But
was just gonna say, I think Triple Axel's decent. I think Stomp is still good. I don't think they've really changed too much about it. Of course, we've changed the way we're fighting, and we have different Pokemon that are at the top of the map, which is or the top of the tier list, which is
Mhm.
always a consideration for any Pokemon. But I think if I'm looking at Serena and I'm looking at Machamp, Dragon, I'm looking at all these Pokemon, I think it outclasses definitely almost every other all rounder on this board. Still, I
Yeah.
think it's great, but you might have to play it in a different way. I don't know. And its ult is really really impactful if you can land a good one. If you can drop kick in and get to the person you want to get to, that's huge. So I think A is fair. I think it might even be up into the A plus, but maybe it's gotten hurt too much. I don't know. I think A is pretty fair.
Yeah.
again, I feel like Sarina is like Machamp. You don't need to play this character as a front laner. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to fight against the front lane. You need to be lurking behind the enemy lanes every time. Like make so the front lane has to decide if if they go behind to protect the Sarina, or they just hold position at the front.
Yeah.
Once the fight is on, you just engage into the enemy backlane and make chaos.
Right.
Like you don't need to engage all in
Mm-hmm.
into the thrill of the fight, into the middle of the fight. No,
Yeah.
just
So
go
A,
in, go out, go in, go out.
yeah, A is fair
Be
for now,
annoying.
right? Because we need to move on to the next Arondos.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright, I think Aegislash is great. I would put Aegislash in A plus because I feel like Aegislash has a lot of good uses. It has a good secure potential on bot lane. It kind of lagged in the old map to get level 7 to get ahead, but I feel like Aegislash is a really good laner right now. It has like it has the potential to score a lot. It can run away. There's not really like a lot of Pokemon that deny the XP because there's so much XP. And once you get level 7, you can snowball enemies really hard. You can deny XP, you can farm XP, and you can do lots of stuff in different team compositions, thinking about competitively. And it has a great secure. Its ultimate is so strong, it's so oppressive, and if you play Aegislash around the enemy cooldowns, you can be really, really good. I think Aegislash is a great Pokemon.
Yeah, I happen to agree. I think Aegislash is great. It's weird looking at this list and seeing Zarina below these other three, just because I think Zarina is still really, really great too. But Aegislash is really nice. Whenever you're dealing with, it's weird. It does well against bulky Pokemon and it does well against squishy Pokemon, and it fights really well and it has incredible mobility. It's just a really solid choice. I haven't seen it too much. If I'm being honest, I feel like I keep getting surprised that I don't see much Aegislash, but have you run into a lot of it when you're playing like, higher level teams or competitively? Because I just feel like I don't see it a ton right now.
When I played the tournament, I played against Potato, he played Aegislash, and I played Aegislash as well. I feel like Aegislash has a lot of good uses if you are a good Aegislash player. Again, thinking about competitive, if you are great on Aegislash, you will do great with it. If you are bad,
Mm-hmm.
you will just like be a burden to your team because
Yeah.
you need to practice Aegislash. Aegislash needs practice and it has so many potential uses. And I don't think it falls off. Like Rafa always said that Aegislash is good against Mime. Adesu doesn't understand why Aegislash is good against Mime because Mime one shots Aegislash. But
I kinda understand that if you see it, you have free stacks, and
yeah,
okay, you get some lucky crits by using the sword mode. You can kill mine, and you go back into the seal, so mine cannot kill you. But I don't feel like I just like easily kills mine. Like you need more than 20 seconds to kill my mine 1v1.
yeah. And
That's what I feel.
I just like I feel like Aegislash can make places. He can secure objectives. He can run away.
Mm-hmm.
He can protect the lane, and he can be annoying. I feel like Pokemon that are annoying are good, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I love annoying Pokemon. It's my favorite thing.
Right. So we agree on A plus, right?
Mm,
Let's
I
go
think it's
to
fair.
Azumarill.
I never tried this Pokemon. I never see one in this new map. Don't know why
No.
actually.
This Pokemon's no good. I don't know. What do you do with this? I would love to see teams dominate with this. I feel like the Unite move nerf hurt this Pokemon. Maybe it hurt it maybe more than any other almost.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like
I
in the
just think
lower
this
tier.
Pokemon's so tough. The biggest thing with this, and you run into this with any tier list. This is the point of tiering them, right? Is you would say, what on earth would you switch out for Azumarill? It would
Yeah.
be so weird to do. It's not impossible, and it's not that you couldn't do well with it, but it's like, what do you switch out for Azumarill? That's just my thought on it. I don't know what you would use, what you would switch for
I
Azumarill.
just feel like because there's so many Pokemon with so much agility, like they can just easily outrun Azumarill. I feel like Azumarill like used to be good when it was really strong because it one-shots people and it can make
Yes.
big plays and big fights. But I feel like this new map, everyone is just running around. Everyone is running around, scoring, doing what they want, doing what they are good at. Azumarill is also good at what what she can do, but like what Azumarill is capable of. But again, that there are other Pokemon that are just better on the things you can do.
That's what it feels like to me. And also, its Unite move used to feel more like an assassination, like it was a bit of a delete button, but now it doesn't even get as crazy when
Yeah.
it unites. So you took one of the saving graces of Azumarill and you kind of hurt it a little bit with this Unite move change. At least that's what it felt like to me when I've seen it or played it. It just doesn't feel like a much of a force. I don't know if you play it much, Adesu.
Unless you are muted.
I was muted.
Yeah.
I like it this Pokemon so much in the previous map that it is true. Yeah, I think it also has some uses like Sprite. What you said, you play this ultimate like an assassination ultimate, right? If you manage to do this and clear the actual Glaceon of the enemy team or even Mew. Mew is harder because he has the ultimate, he has Surf. Like, nah, it's not good. Like, you're right. Like, I cannot kill mine. I cannot kill Mew. Maybe you can kill Glaceon, but
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, it has snow cloak, so you don't even knock it up really, and it could just icy wind and kind of get away
nah.
from you. You don't have the move speed anymore, so you'd have to chase. It's just you
You
would
have
think its
some move
job is
speed.
like I'm going to unite Glaceon, and I'm gonna get past everybody, and I'm going to delete it. But it doesn't even do that good of a job at that. At least that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so we
it's
agree that it's a
it's
solid
bad. It's
beat.
bad
Yeah.
for sure. It's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
B stands for bad. Yeah.
B's for bad now.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
B's for
Buzzwole.
Buzzwole. I don't know. I think
I
this Pokemon is super undertuned.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like basketball is A, but other times I feel like he's B. Depends on the matchup so much, like so much, and how your team plays.
yeah.
Basketball has one of the best engage in the game, in my opinion, with Flash and Smackdown. But like it has the lowest win rate in the game as well,
Yeah.
and we cannot deny this fact as well.
Yeah, it's
So
not a
we
coincidence,
cannot
I don't
place him
think.
high for sure.
Like what I like about Buzzwole, and because it's a competitive tier list, win rate doesn't matter if the enemy like if people don't know what the Pokemon is capable of. Again, watching my teammate Adesu, competitive player, professionally, and he plays Buzzwole really well. Like the way he plays Buzzwole, he has a different mindset of other Buzzwole players. He makes plays, he opens, engages, and he does this weird stuff where I just feel safe. I can see what Adesu is doing, and I think Buzzwole is good. Like Adesu says, Buzzwole is not that great, but then I see Adesu doing stuff with Buzzwole, and he says it misses something. So I think it's interesting. Like again, like I don't know what Machamp is doing in this current meta. It's weird, but it's still a minus because it has uses, and I feel like Buzzwole is can do a lot of stuff, but people don't see what a Buzzwole can do. Like it's actually so strong. It can get full life with one or is it leech life. From one
Yeah.
leech life, it gets full life. It can CC the enemies. It can. It's a surprise fact, and I think if you if you watch Adesu play Buzzwole, you think, what is this Pokemon? I don't recognize this Pokemon anymore.
Like if you
Yeah.
have a good team, Password can one shot mine. Like not one shot, but you can give your team an opportunity to one shot mine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they
it's
had to follow you. Yeah,
I
sorry.
agree with you that this Pokemon, especially in the hands of a competitive team, would be much higher than it would be in any other setting. And I bet you could play really well and have this Pokemon shine, especially when it has a level lead. When this Pokemon has a level lead, I think it's really mean.
Yeah.
But every Buzzwole I ever see, sometimes the way I view a tier list sometimes is I think how stressed am I if I see this on the enemy team? And if the answer is 0, then for me it goes a little lower. So I don't think it's necessarily, it's not as bad as its win rate might show, but I don't think it's very impressive. I don't know. I
Like
think I bet Adesu could do some insane things, and I'm sure the best Buzzwoles out there would put on a show for
It's
sure.
it's just that, like SmackDown plus Leeds Life is more than 3 seconds of CC straight plus 50% of health of almost any target.
yeah, like I wouldn't
Just
put
that.
a Buzzball under Machamp, like in comparison. I think Buzzball and Machamp both have good uses if you have a good player. If you see for example in Firefight there was Dravix, and same Machamp player making plays all over the place because he plays Machamp really well, but other Machamp players fall off. So I feel like if you agree with me and you trust me with the A minus, I think Buzzball is a solid A minus.
I will absolutely agree with both of you and yield to your expertise any day of the week.
It
All right,
has such very bad matches. I don't know. Like, I don't think he deserves A minus. Like you win or lose in the loading screen, like Blaine
yeah.
said.
Hmm.
Like if the
So
all
like in
the
the
enemy team outrange you, you have really a really bad time. You will have a really bad time for sure.
so in a competitive perspective, it's risky. So
It's risky for sure.
So B plus then
yeah.
maybe. It's
Uh,
also one of those Pokemon, no matter how good you are, you can still miss.
yeah.
And when you miss with Buzzwole, ugh, what a horrible Pokemon to miss with. It's
Yeah.
just so sad when you miss your moves with this Pokemon.
I
Yeah,
agree.
for
Sorry,
sure.
go ahead. We can move on.
All right, going to Tyranitar, my most played Pokemon this season. I think Tyranitar is a really strong Pokemon. It is so impressive. But looking at this meta and everyone running away from like Tyranitar and just being annoying and Tyranitar is just a running child that can't do anything. I feel like Tyranitar is A because I feel like Tyranitar is a really strong Pokemon. It's so strong when the meta changes again because when you use your Unite, you can execute enemies. When you use Ancient Power, you can get big shields. When you use Dark Bolts, you can secure easily. It has a decent early game, to be fair. I think it's good in early game. It has good secure, it can run away, it is tanky, and it just needs level 9. Once it hits level 9, it's really, really strong. But this because of the other Pokemon that just outshine Tyranitar so much and just run away and Tyranitar can't really do anything, expect a good Tyranitar like catches people. I don't think a Tyranitar is that great compared to like the other high tiers. That's why I put it on A because I think Tyranitar is really, really strong.
I like Terminator. Not gonna lie. I feel that this Pokemon just go forward. People are really afraid of
Yeah.
it, so he makes a lot of time. Then he has like one of the biggest shield plus Samster keeps him the tankiness it needs. The ultimate is very good, and honestly, it's the best Pokemon for defending points right now. Like no matter if the enemy team gets Rayquaza, you have Tyranitar, you can know this Pokemon can solo 1 point for a fair amount of seconds. I really like Tyranitar. I think it's a good Pokemon.
Yeah. Like I would agree to put it a bit higher, but because of this meta, I wouldn't put it higher. Because as a Tyranitar player myself, it just felt like everyone around me just runs me away. Like maybe because I'm too annoyed about Mime. I just don't like Mime because Mime makes my Greedent worse. Mime makes my Tyranitar worse. That's why I don't want to play Tyranitar into a Mime, even though it's so good. What do you think, Sparkles?
Like Tyranitar, I feel like it actually would have shined a lot more on the previous map and in the previous meta. I mean, I think it does really well, especially when it has sort of a pocket support like a Blissey. We don't see that as much anymore. And the thing that you brought up that's just really important is it does feel like everyone is more spread out. We're away from the Pokemon more. We're away. You used to have these fights that were
Yeah.
a lot more predictable, that they were sort of a big 5-on-5, and you just don't even see the same makeup of these fights anymore. Pokemon very far away, like Mew or something like that, or Decidueye, as you have very high on this list. So it feels like it used to actually be better. It used to probably be up in the S tier just with how the game was played before. And now I think A is fine, A or A minus. I think it's still really solid. The point about being able to defend a goal though is so true. It's great at defending a goal for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we
Yeah.
agree at
Also
A.
rough early, kind of rough early.
Like when
I
the
mean,
enemy
it's
does
not the worst
Rayquaza,
secure, but kind of rough.
and I have got to play in Tyranitar, I feel really safe, not gonna lie.
Yep, that's true.
I also feel like when I play Trevenant and the rest of the Decidueye, I can do whatever I want. Because even if I tank everything, and this Decidueye is just behind me, doing tons of damage. And that's why I think Tyranitar deserves the A for now. If the meta changes, it could be higher. We will see. Now going into the Speedsters. The Speedsters.
So good.
I feel like the Speedsters are so good right now because of the new map. It,
Hmm.
it has like lots of uses. I think Gengar is really strong right now, but I also think it's a bit overrated in the competitive scene. I don't think Gengar is gonna be really high. I think it's a solid AG as well. Like,
I think in normal play, you're looking at one of the best Pokemon in the game right now. Gengar's insane. It's just crazy. But yeah, competitive, you have to, you're not going to be able to catch people the same way you can get 30 kills
yeah,
in sort of a normal game. So I was wondering where you might put these speedsters. It's weird because speedsters, I feel like incredibly difficult to balance. They're either amazing or terrible at any given point in the game, and of course, that's part of it's the meta at any given time. But now also, each one of these speedsters really does well when they have experience, and
yeah.
that was one of the things that was always tough with them. There just wasn't enough experience for them, and now there is. So I can't wait to see where you want to put all these. I think Gengar's super mean, but maybe a little predictable for competitive. I don't know. It's still pretty freaking brutal. What do you think,
Gengar,
Ignis?
Like, I would like to hear
Gengar,
Ades's thoughts.
Gengar, Gengar is annoying. Like really annoying. Like, when I play Decidueye, it's probably the Pokemon I I have the terrible nightmares of Gengar. Like what that's what he did. He eating my dreams, right? Yeah. This ultimate is so annoying. Like I cannot play safely with Decidueye until Gengar uses his ultimate and misses because I had to actually make it miss. Like I cannot show myself ever when Gengar is in game. And Gengar can one-shot Glaceon, can one-shot Mew. He just needs to be patient. He can one-shot most of the A plus tier right now. I don't know. Gengar is really strong. The only bad thing he has is the early game. Like if the enemy team invades you and you are not strong enough, okay, that's his biggest weakness right now. But
So, like, looking in competitive, like, do you think Gengar could be a potential S or A plus because it can get denied? If you play Dream Eater, you can get stunned by Mamoswine. If you play Hex, you can play Foley or Blissey. Like, competitively thinking, what do you think would be Gengar right now?
Gengar, I don't know. I think A plus is the right spot. Maybe
I think as
like
well.
one of the lowest A plus,
Yeah.
like Ninja, like we said, like Ninja is legit one of the lowest A plus. Yeah, and I think Gengar will be really good if we have a draft mode because
Yeah.
Gengar as counter pick is one of the best picks in this game.
So, like, do we agree that Gengar is A plus? I think it is really strong. It's really
Yeah,
impressive.
it
In a
does. It
solo
is.
queue way of thinking, I would put it in S or S plus. But because it's competitive, you can counter Gengar with Snorlax. You can do
Hmm.
lots of stuff to um, like deny the Gengar. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
also one thing about this map is it has so many boosters. Like Gengar can lurk in any of these boosters, right? You just need to be patient and wait for the backline to get close and just one shot them because you one shot them easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gengar is so freaking mean. I haven't seen it at the highest level of competitive play, but I think it's so incredibly mean. And when I look at our A plus tier, I mean, it kind of feels like it does a similar job to Greninja, but just better in almost every way. It doesn't farm the same exactly, but whether you're playing Hex or Dream Eater, I mean, if your job is to kind of wait for your big moments, Gengar also has them. I just think it's great. It's
Yeah.
so great, but maybe a team won't find a great spot for it. But gosh, Gengar is so mean right now.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, if you miss with Gengar, it's really bad.
Yeah,
If you
it's
miss
really
with
bad.
Gengar, it's really, really bad.
It's really bad.
You don't want
When
to
they
miss
miss
with
a
Gengar.
Dream Eater, you're like, let's go. Let's freaking
Yeah,
go.
that's why you wait in a boost for
Yeah.
someone to go in, and
Yeah.
you won't miss.
Alright, guys, let's go to. I want to go for Talonflame for the last, because I want to talk about Talonflame a lot. So we go with Zeraora first. I think
Okay.
Zeraora is a great A tier. I think because of the new map, Zeraora can farm a lot. It has great
Hmm.
teamfight potential. It is really strong. It is really impressive. If a great Zeraora player does great stuff, it can help the team a lot. It can fight on top lane, and it can jump to the enemies easily. I think Zeraora is one of the best speedsters, but I feel like you could run something over Zeraora to have a better early game and mid game.
Like, not gonna lie, you look at the matches of Ferrara, if he's 1v1, like any one of the high tiers, Ferrara should win. Like, he can dodge Psychic with Wild Charge if you play Wild Charge. You can one-shot Mew, you can one-shot Decidueye, you can one-shot Glaceon actually. Legit, this Pokemon is really good. I kind of like Wild Charge. I tried it yesterday and it felt so good. Also, if you play cooldown reduction with Blue Buff, if you do a wild charge, when the wild charge ends, you have 2 seconds for the next wild charge. So you dodge those 2 seconds with sparks, and then another wild charge is going to be really really annoying.
Yeah. Like I wasn't trying to get level 6 on Zeraora early. Like you can easily get level 6 as a jungler if no one invades you.
Yep.
I I could put it on A plus if you guys think it's that great.
Not
But I
really.
think it's a solid A. Like let's see your Sprockets first. Like what do
I
you
mean,
think from
It
experience?
A is like such a good category. It's not saying anything bad about it. I think Zera is awesome. Experience hungry Pokemon do so much better on this map. Zeraora is so experience hungry, but like you said, you can now make it to one of the 850 Swablu fights at level 6. So you actually have your second move. It is a bit of a delete button for these squishier Pokemon. I was impressed with a few Spark Wild Charge Zeras I saw recently. Like, yeah, they're avoiding tons of damage. And like Adesu said, I was shocked how fast Wild Charge came back when you had a blue buff. It came back so fast. I was even saying to my chat after it deleted me, I was like, how did that happen? How does it have Wild Charge again? And they're like, blue buff. It was just ready to go. I'm like, I
Yeah,
guess. So it's
exactly.
pretty good.
Yeah. Also, if you have Registeel buff with Zeraora, it's crazy. It's super crazy. Because with the passive, he has one of the highest attack in the game. He gets plus 20%. If he plays Edge attack, oh my god, of course you get one shot, no matter what you do.
Yeah. I think it's cool. The speedsters are just in such a cool spot. They needed
Yeah.
XP and now they have tons of it. And when they have a level lead, they're so incredibly mean.
Hmm.
A feels really solid. I bet someone could play that
And,
really
and
well, either build.
even if he's behind, he can get ahead easily with with comeback XP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kills so easily.
Alright, going on to the next speedster, Absol. I think Absol is a pretty good A plus as well. I feel like Absol is so impressive. Like you could
Hmm.
run him in the jungle with Pursuit, going to the lane and just one-shotting the enemy team. Like when the jungler doesn't know where the Absol is and he ganks the wrong lane, the other side of the lane is gonna be destroyed if the Absol makes the play correctly and if the enemies are greedy for XP. Like if you set up a perfect ganking position for Absol, he can easily get the top lane like really fast and score 30 points. And once he scores, like when you play with attack weight at least, you get really ahead. Like when I had a game where two people were ganking me, I was a level 3, I think, I'm not sure which Pokemon anymore, but I was level 3 and the opposite was level 8. And he was just keep pressuring me. He is great on the top lane, he is great on bot lane as well, I think. Like you can run him you can run him everywhere. You can also send him to gank early. So that's why that's what Pokemon is strong. I think Pokemon that can go any lane are pretty strong, and that's why I think Absol deserves the A plus because he's so oppressive.
Yeah, Absol's the speedster I've spent the least amount of time with in the new patch, but I think it's actually doing really well. And surprisingly enough, I see a lot of people playing Pursuit with it and doing very well. And the big thing is exactly what you said. You get these Pokemon to have kind of an absurd level lead, a way bigger level lead than you feel like you would have had on the previous map. And now all of a sudden, you've got this Absol that does 3,000 damage critical hits walking into path against these level 4
Yeah.
and 5 Pokemon. It's like level 11 already. It's pretty mean. So I like it a lot. Me personally, I think I probably have it maybe closer to Zeraora, but I might be wrong about that. I personally think I'm overvaluing Gengar maybe a bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
A or A plus, it's really good.
Yeah, Jaspers, but don't forget how fast get can Absol make a lead for your team. Like once you are level 5, this Pokemon is crazy. Like he can
Yep.
invade. He's good at securing in early game. Okay, not the best secure, but he has a solid secure, right? Uh, and once you are level 5, you can just go into the enemy jungle and how speed he clears everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you miss your buff, okay, 2 seconds, Absol kills the blue buff, kills the red buff, and he leaves. Like in 10 seconds, he clears the whole enemy jungle. And if you spot him, he can just run. This is crazy. Like how fast he clears the whole map, he will get always a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like it's just a high level over level character that it's running, and if you are really good at it, you won't die easily. And you will make a difference for sure. It's super good. Also, he's good against Mew. He's good against Decidueye. He's solid against Glaceon, especially if you play Sucker Punch for dodging
Mm-hmm.
the Icy Wind.
Alright, moving to the last Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon right now, and I think the best speedster, if I over exaggerate. But like personally, I would put Talonflame on S. But because I know the limits and I know competitive has lots of stuff to do, I would put it in A plus. I felt like when I played Talonflame with my build, I played Talonflame with Floatstone, Cookie, and what was the last
Score
like
Shield.
Score Shield and Goal Getter. It just felt like I could do whatever I wanted. Like I gave my bot laner the blue buff because I only needed the blue buff. I ganked top lane and scored to get level 5. I got level 7 before the bees, like before the middle Swablues at 8 minutes. And I was just so oppressive. I was able to do whatever I wanted. And I feel like when I play this Pokemon in competitive, I feel like I can do the same. Like the same that I did in ladder in competitive as well. I don't know what is this about, like for Talonflame, but it just felt like Talonflame is great. He's one of the best Pokemon. I feel like compared to the Decidueye that can one-shot enemies through the other side of the map, Talonflame cannot do it. He doesn't do a lot of damage if you play it this way, but the way he plays is like Greedent, but Mime doesn't really do anything against Talonflame. Glaceon can't kill Talonflame if he flies over the AC wind, and Mew kinda gets one-shot by Talonflame as well. I feel like Talonflame is such in a great spot right now.
Not sure
Yeah.
about the Mew thing, but the rest is fine. I just left you to Gato because you played the bird so many games, and like I didn't play the bird that much, and I didn't play against many birds as well, so don't have a solid opinion on this. Spragels?
I'm not a competitive player like you two, but I'm playing this Pokemon so much. I think it's so freaking amazing. It does really counter Glaceon too, because if it wants to hit you with an icy wind, you're just in the air. I mean,
Yeah,
your Mew's boosted attacks. You can fly into the air and it will miss you. It doesn't hit you with these 2,000 damage boosted attacks, and then the whole time your score.
yeah,
It's so perfectly set up for this map. It's so amazing. You can make it to a goal zone and score and get right back into a fight, land on them with a fly. It's just so good. I love it, and I think I'm too biased. I
yeah.
Right now I think it's my favorite Pokemon in the game by far, and I would probably put it in the S tier, but I am not playing the kind of teams you are all playing. Maybe it doesn't line up there for you all, but I freaking love Talonflame right now.
Like I would put Talonflame as an S as well. I think it's so oppressive. I think competitively, people won't expect if they don't experience the Talonflame the way I play, they won't expect me to play the tournament. Like I feel like I could do so much with Talonflame. I can do whatever I want. People can't deny me. when it's coming down to the end game engagement, which is really important, what I do is I just counter score, and even if they stop me, they can't do anything. They can't catch me. They can't stop me. Even if they chase me, my teammates are gonna engage on the teammates that are left alone. If they just only put one on the side, I can still outrun them and score on the other side of the map. Like then again,
Yep.
like if the awesome one is bot lane side and he tries to stop me and I just use ultimate to top lane side and score, they can't stop me. They need at least two people to stop me, and Talonflame is so great. Like the reason I didn't want to put it on S is because I feel like the Decidueye is like after he gets his power spike, he's so oppressive. But I feel like Talonflame is also an S. But I don't know if Adesu agrees with me. I don't know.
I
I played
don't,
it 22 games and I won 100% win rate. It's just
I don't know.
great.
Like I didn't watch you playing today, so I I just trust you.
So guys,
I think it's so good, but in a competitive setting, I would love to see it. I just feel like, man, you have to do. It's either it's going to score or you're going to put resources into stopping it, and then both of those are just so powerful. Is if you have a score shield and a goal getter. At 2 minutes, you have 100 points that's either going in or the enemy has to deal with you, and you get out 99% of the time. And then at 30 seconds, you have that exact same play. You have another 100 points that can go in with a score shield. I don't know. It's so sick. Again, you guys are the experts. I just freaking love Talon right
I
now.
think
It's
Also,
so sick.
there's a super good thing about Talonflame is when he uses ultimate, he receives 15% less damage. That works for shields as well. So if he plays a score shield after using ultimate, you can land even, you know, those sneaky scores even if someone is defending at the late, very late game.
like
Really good.
It's probably not S, but one thing to say about it is it's such an extreme playmaker and it will win games.
yeah,
So, I mean, that's the interesting thing about a Pokemon like this. It is you will win unwinnable games with it, which I think is very cool. So, maybe I think I'm probably too hot on it right now,
me
but
too.
it's
Like
great.
I'm gonna put it in S tier. Like I'm gonna make a brave play, but
Heck
people may
yeah.
disagree with me, but I'm gonna put it in S tier. Okay, what do you guys think? Like giving 10
I
seconds to the
uh okay, we made the meme tier list. When is the real one?
Yeah, we spent 2 hours making a meme tier list. Let's do the real one. I think this is a pretty good list. I think, me
I'm happy with
personally,
it.
I think I'm probably rating Talonflame too high. I can't wait to
Same.
see what you all do with Decidueye because I'm kind of shocked that it's that high personally. Without question, Glaceon, Mew, Mime, they're insane right now. A and A plus tier, all really solid Pokemon. I'm trying to see if there's anything on here that I'm kind of surprised by. Maybe I still need to see Buzzwole work in some sort of team comp because I'm also just kind of like, what do you do with this guy? But in general, this all makes a lot of sense to me. I was also a little. I mean, the more that I look at it, maybe Delphox, maybe it goes one lower, or maybe Greninja goes one lower. But that's just again, I'm splitting hairs here, and maybe Gengar goes lower.
Yeah.
That's also just kind of me thinking that it's maybe better than it is.
Like I don't
Yeah.
feel Greninja is that bad as people is thinking. Like legit, Ninja can win any of the top tier
I
squeezy targets.
I don't think it's bad. It's just the same conversation we were having about Machamp. I have about Greninja a little bit, where it's just like it's good, it farms well, and then I just don't see it pop off the same way I used to see Greninja pop off. But I haven't seen enough. It's all
Yeah.
so new. So that's probably just my bias showing. As I'm like, what's Greninja doing right
Yeah. I'm pretty happy about this tier list. Like again, like I think for the people that are watching us, guys, don't think like this is an offensive tier list. Like don't get offended that your man is maybe lower or higher. It's just our opinions as competitive players, and Spragels as a caster and a player himself and content creator. We just talk about the tier list, and we think like as three of us talking, we have more opinions about the things. So if you have different opinions, you can share it to us, but don't feel offended about the way we think the competitive tier list is going right now. To make it more
now? Oh
clear.
Like
yeah, I don't think anyone should feel offended, but also one of my favorite things about tier lists and making them and talking through them is when someone does something that sort of rocks everyone and goes, wow, I did
Yeah.
not expect this Pokemon to be that good. You saw it low on everyone's tier list, and then, you know, such and such team brought it out and it was so good. So yeah, I think the cool thing about tier lists too is they're made to be proven wrong at points. They're made to show at some point and you went, wow, I really missed it when it came to whatever, you know, Venusaur here. I was so off on that one. So I think that's one of the cool things about tier lists is you are making something with all of your best intentions and all the information that you have currently, and there's something in there that's wrong. For sure. For sure you're wrong about something.
Right.
Clefable is going to be A or A plus.
Scyther is going to be D minus, and Scissor is going to be pretty high.
Alright, guys. I'm gonna take a picture. I'm gonna save it, and then we can put the other Pokemon's prediction.
Nah, I mean, this white is just to hide, I guess.
Yeah, the Decidueye should be C tier. I think Glaceon should be solid B tier as well, right?
Mhm.
Oh, this is what I do as well. Yeah, move it all around. Move it.
Like,
Keep it going.
I feel like
Mew's
Mew is.
Mew's only A.
Yeah,
A
Mew-
minus,
Mew is like-
Mew is
I think
pink, doesn't deserve S
I think
plus.
Mime is
Yeah.
B plus, and like
Mime is B
I feel like Cramorant
plus.
is S
Yeah,
plus.
Mike is pink as well. Yeah, blue is
Camo,
better than
yep.
pink.
Yeah,
For sure.
Azumarill should
Machamp
be
is
S as well.
actually
Talonflame
Machamp
should
is
be
actually
B.
S plus currently right now.
No,
Yeah.
it's plus plus. Yeah, he has
Yeah.
4 arms.
I feel like
That's right.
Delphox
That's
is really
true.
bad right now,
Forearm.
so it
That's
should be
exactly
B.
right. Delphox is terrible.
I think
Yeah.
Absol is also like it gets one shot easily, so B plus.
Yep.
Yeah,
Greninja is too squishy. Put it on D.
Yep.
yeah, finally getting his deserved
I
spot.
feel like Gardevoir should be S plus as well. Really strong.
Exactly.
Yeah, Lucario is a furry icon, so S plus as well.
Oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. Hmm.
There you go. I think that's beautiful. Just
Yeah,
put
now it's better.
Tyranitar in C, and then you're good.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
pretty happy about this tier list.
Mm-hmm.
Alright,
Me
guys.
too.
This is going on YouTube, so we do the shoutouts like now. In case you wanna shout out your socials and stuff. Adesu, you're done.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter for it Adesu23 altogether, and Adesu Unite on Twitter as well. Thank you.
Where can we find you, Spragels?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, Spragels on both of those. I make a ton of stuff like this. And this very same tier list and video I'll probably also be putting up on my channel at some point. So, Gatlu, why don't you let everybody know where to find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at Gatlu. You can find me on Twitter at Gatlu, and hopefully on YouTube soon as well, because this is my first tier list video for YouTube. Thanks for watching,
Nice.
everyone. See you guys.